Petua Negeri Sarawak congratulated the formation of the unity government, and Tuan Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak emphasized on his desire that the unity government could satisfy the claims of Sarawak in accordance to Malaysia Agreement 1963, MA 63. I fully support Tuan Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak's statement, and I would like to take this opportunity to remind all fellow Sarawakians and our fellow GPS comrades that the Sarawak GPS government takes this matter very seriously and has made significant progress and achieved numerous successes thus far. However, the Sarawak GPS government is still not satisfied with our current achievements, and our fellow GPS comrades will continue to fight for the Sarawakians' right. Tuan Speaker. Secondly, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Sarawak, as this year marks the 60th year since Sarawak achieved independence. This is the diamond anniversary for Sarawak, and we are proud to see Sarawak recovering strongly economically post-COVID-19 pandemic under a visionary, inclusive, and stable GPS government. As Tuan Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak announced that the theme for this diamond anniversary would be called Sarawak Maju Makmur, where Maju is translated as advanced, progressive, and Makmur is translated as prosper. We are truly blessed to see our beloved Sarawak advancing and prospering under the visionary and wise leadership of our Premier of Sarawak, Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Abdul Rahman Johari bin Dun Datuk Abang Haji Open. Sarawak's achievement had also been acknowledged publicly by our Prime Minister, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Anwar bin Ibrahim at the Unity Government National Convention 2023 held at WTC Kuala Lumpur on the 14th of May 2023. And I quote, "This is because the Sarawak government is stable, strong, and has disciplined leaders. Therefore, there are new ideas in Sarawak that can make us proud as Malaysians." End quote. Now, as Sarawakians, we feel honored for our Prime Minister to classify Sarawak in a different league with new initiatives and ideas when compared to the other states of Malaysia. In addition, Sarawak GPS government was instrumental in the successful formation of the federal unity government. Sarawak GPS has always put the interests of Malaysian nation as one of its top priority. I believe with disciplined execution of the post-COVID-19 development strategy, PCDS 2030, such as advancement of the digital economy, green technology, carbon trading, other new revenue streams, not forgetting soon to be economic value to our tourism industry, resulting from the development of the handicraft industry with the establishment of the Sarawak Craft Council and many more. We are confident that the GPS government will continue to make Sarawak more advanced and prosperous, benefiting and prospering our fellow Sarawakians. At the same time, Sarawak is showing the way in nation building for the rest of Malaysia. Tuan Speaker. Thirdly, Tun Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak called out the youth and young adults of Sarawak to develop and enhance the skill and knowledge to remain competitive when opportunity arises. Sarawak government has taken academic and vocational education very seriously. With the addition of 5 international schools, we want our future generation to be one step ahead. of others where they are educated with international standards syllabus. However, based on the feedback from the grassroots, many of our highly educated and trained younger generation are lured to work in Peninsular Malaysia and overseas because of more job opportunities. As it happens, most of them will eventually choose not to return to Sarawak. This contributes to the brain drain and a loss of valuable resources for Sarawak. Recently, with the oil and gas companies like Shell and Petronas returning to Miri, we are seeing hope in the younger generation that they may have a chance to stay back at home after graduating from their tertiary education and not having to make the extremely difficult decision of sacrificing the comfort of being with the family due to job opportunities. In my opinion, in addition to establishing a strong education foundation for our future generation, we must also look to attract more foreign investments to establish the base in Sarawak, just like Shell did in 1910. That way, we would not only be able to train and equip our future generation with knowledge and skills to be competitive in the market, but we would provide them a lucrative opportunity to stay back in Sarawak. This would help the state in talent retention, giving our states the upper hand of a large pool of local talents when opportunities arise for Sarawak. Since education is one of the pillars in our nation building, Miri is fortunate that we have Curtin University of Technology of Australia branch campus. It has contributed to educating a generation of highly trained youth for Sarawak in particular and Malaysia in general, in addition to the significant contribution to the economy of Miri. However, for a university to develop, it has to have a broad spectrum of academic staff and students from diverse sources to exchange ideas and enrich the academic environment. Curtin University of Technology Miri campus has attracted many foreign students from Asia, Middle East, Africa, and others over the years. However, the application for student visa for these foreign students has always been a very laborious and time-consuming process with uncertain outcomes. This has greatly hampered the development of the university and hence not in the interest of Sarawak. Therefore, I propose here that Sarawak should demand the education portfolio be returned to Sarawak, and we will manage it in accordance with our nation-building policies and objectives. One speaker. As mentioned in my madam's speech, the following projects in Miri are to be given immediate attention in order to further develop Miri and to attract more local and foreign investments. The issue of shallow river channel at Baram River mouth that severely affected the access to Miri Port and the many industries along the Baram River banks has been a long outstanding issue. Therefore, I would like to thank YAB Premier for the approval of 238 million to mitigate the shallow river channel at Baram River mouth. The development of the Piasa Nature Reserve has to be improved further to make it the premier nature reserve in the city as it was envisioned. Third, for the overall development of Greater Miri, the construction of road access to Mulu and Limbang have to be expedited. The importance of direct road access from Miri to Limbang without crossing Brunei territory has been woefully apparent during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the road access from Miri to Limbang and Laos was cut off due to the closing of the Brunei border. Point number 4, for the further development of various tourist destinations, Construction of road access to Mulu National Park and waterfalls sites like Julan has to be expedited. Point number 5, with the increasing number of passengers throughput at Miri Airport, the present terminal building is no longer suitable and adequate. I would like to again suggest that a new terminal has to be constructed with the proper two-level airport terminal design to cater to the increasing number of passengers anticipated. Tuan Speaker, before I end my speech, I would like to take this opportunity to wish all Muslim brothers and sisters a Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri, Maaf Zahir dan Batin, and an early Selamat Hari Gawai to all Dayak brothers and sisters. Lastly, I wish to register my full support to the motion of appreciation to the Tuan Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak Tun Pehin Seri Haji Abdul Taib Mahmud address. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Pujut. May I call upon Yang Berhormat Balingyan, please.
Speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera dan salam Sarawakku sayang. Bersyukur kehadrat Ilahi kerana dengan limpah kurnianya saya berpeluang untuk turut sama membahaskan usul penghargaan atas ucapan Tuan Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak semasa pembukaan mesyuarat pertama Penggal Kedua Dewan Undangan Negeri Sarawak yang ke-19. Terlebih dahulu saya sekali lagi ingin mengambil kesempatan dengan merakamkan tahniah kepada Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Sarawak di atas kemenangan yang lebih besar GPS pada PRU yang lalu. Pertambahan kursi yang dimenangi pada PRU 15 yang lepas membuktikan rakyat Sarawak memerlukan GPS untuk mewakili suara mereka di peringkat persekutuan dan seterusnya membentuk kerajaan perpaduan di peringkat persekutuan. GPS aku kepada titah yang di Pertuan Agong untuk membentuk kerajaan perpaduan demi menyelesaikan kemelut politik negara. Ini adalah kerana GPS mementingkan kerajaan yang stabil untuk pembangunan Sarawak dan Malaysia amnya. Akhirnya terbentuklah kerajaan perpaduan dengan pelantikan Yang Amat Berhormat Tambun sebagai Perdana Menteri Malaysia yang ke-10 oleh Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Titah Tuan Yang Terutama Yang Di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak pada persidangan hari pertama mesyuarat pertama Penggal Kedua Dewan Undangan Negeri Sarawak yang ke-19, kita yakin hubungan erat kerajaan Sarawak dan kerajaan persekutuan akan terus membawa banyak kebaikan kepada rakyat. Kita juga berharap agar kerajaan perpaduan dapat segera menyelesaikan tuntutan Sarawak selaras dengan perjanjian Malaysia 1963 ataupun MA63, laporan IGC, Perlembagaan Sarawak dan Perlembagaan Persekutuan. Strategi pembangunan pasca COVID-19 PCDS 2030 untuk Sarawak adalah pelan komprehensif yang bertujuan untuk menangani cabaran yang dibawa oleh pandemik COVID-19 dan menggalakkan pembangunan berterusan di rantau ini. Strategi yang dirancang secara menyeluruh adalah untuk kesejahteraan warga Sarawak. Antara objektif teras PCDS 2030 adalah mengubah struktur ekonomi memoden dan meningkatkan kecekapan untuk meningkatkan pendapatan isi rumah dan untuk meletakkan kelestarian alam sekitar dalam usaha pemulihan dan pertumbuhan ekonomi jangka panjang. Strategi pembangunan pasca pandemik meliputi sektor ekonomi, merangkumi sektor pembuatan, pertanian, komersial, pelancongan, perhutanan, perlombongan dan perkhidmatan. Terangkum dalam matlamat Post COVID-19 Development Strategy PCDS 2030, Sarawak akan maju menjelang 2030. Sabah juga kepada kerajaan Sarawak kerana ekonomi baru berasaskan teknologi hijau yang telah menarik banyak pelaburan ke Sarawak. Menurut Duta Besar Jepun Tuan Yang Terutama Takahashi Katsuhiko semasa kunjungan hormat ke atas Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Sarawak bulan lepas, usaha pembangunan teknologi hijau ini akan memberi manfaat dari aspek keselamatan tenaga, makanan dan alam sekitar. Malah Sarawak merupakan antara wilayah yang aktif dalam menyuarakan pendapat tentang teknologi hijau. Terdapat 30 syarikat Jepun sehingga kini beroperasi di Sarawak, termasuk Chitoshi Carbon Capture Central yang merupakan projek kerjasama Jepun dengan Sarawak. Ini telah mengeratkan lagi hubungan kita dengan negara Jepun, terutama dalam perniagaan. Tahun ini kita akan merayakan ulang tahun ke-60 kemerdekaan Sarawak. Tema Sarawak Maju Makmur amat bertepatan. Sejak 60 tahun yang lalu, banyak kejayaan telah kita capai dari segi ekonomi, politik, sosial dan sosial. Ulang tahun ke-60 kemerdekaan Sarawak adalah bagi menghargai sumbangan para pejuang kemerdekaan Sarawak. Begitu juga sumbangan pemimpin-pemimpin yang telah membawa kestabilan dan pembangunan yang kita nikmati sekarang. Dengan harapan sambutan ini akan memberi iktibar akan perjuangan dahulu kala kepada generasi sekarang. Datuk Speaker, izinkan saya terus menyentuh isu dan permasalahan dan pembangunan di kawasan saya selari dengan amanat Tuan Yang Terutama yang mahukan pembangunan luar bandar diutamakan. Saya berharap mendapat perhatian dan pertimbangan yang sewajarnya dari agensi-agensi yang berkaitan. Alam sekitar. Pertama, benteng Hakisan. Ini adalah isu kempen PRU 15 yang lepas. Bagi kawasan Kampung Litong, rakyat di kawasan tersebut ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada agensi pelaksana kerana telah membina benteng Hakisan di Kampung Litong, dan mereka berharap agar fasa yang seterusnya untuk projek pembinaan benteng tersebut diteruskan sampai ke hujung kampung. Pembinaan bagi benteng Hakisan sungai di N58 Belengian perlu kajian oleh agensi yang dipertanggungjawabkan bagi mengatasi masalah Hakisan. Kawasan yang terlibat ialah Kampung Kuala Belengian, Kampung Teh Labak, Kampung Sau, Kampung Sesok, Kampung Seberang yang merangkumi Kampung Tanjung, Kampung Bunut, Kampung Sungai Alau, Kampung Tutus Hilir dan Tutus Ulu, Kampung Suyong, Kampung Jebungan, Kampung Penakub Ulu, Kampung Tegak, Kampung Sau Sitiang dan Sungai Parit di Kampung Lintang. Sungai, di kesempatan ini saya juga mengutarakan beberapa isu berkenaan dengan sungai yang telah tercemar, sama ada oleh sisa buangan domestik maupun industri yang berhampiran. Beberapa kawasan perlu dilaksanakan pembersihan sungai seperti di Sungai Bunut, Sungai Kenyana, Sungai Sesok, Sungai Sa Belengian, Setejuk dan Setuan Besar. Dan masalah buaya juga. Sejak akhir-akhir ini populasi buaya semakin meningkat di sungai-sungai Bayan Tasik, Jebungan, Sesok, Belengian dan Kuala Belengian. Kewujudan buaya-buaya ini sedikit sebanyak mengganggu rutin harian dan pencarian rezeki nelayan sungai. Populasi reptilia ini dikesan tidak terkawal, malah sudah berani ke kawasan penempatan dan berada di tebingan dan pinggir pekan dan perkampungan. Kita mohon agensi kerajaan yang berkenaan melaksanakan langkah proaktif dan holistik bagi membantu mengawal reptilia ini. Infrastruktur asas sistem peparitan. Sistem peparitan yang perlu dikaji semula di kawasan kawasan di lokaliti Penakub Ulu, Kampung Jebungan, Penakub Bazar, Kampung Lintong, Kampung Bunut, Kampung Tanjung, Kampung Lintang Balingian, Kampung Tutus Hilir, Kampung Metedeng, Kampung Seberang Mukah. Diharap agensi yang berkenaan ambil tindakan yang sewajarnya. Jalan raya, masalah jalan kampung yang sempit sering dibangkit oleh penduduk di kawasan saya, terutama hanya Kampung Litong, Kampung Bunut, Kampung Tanjung, Kampung Sungai Alau, Kampung Tutus Ulu, Kampung Jebungan, Kampung Tegak, Kampung Penakub Ulu, Kampung Teh, Kampung Tabau, Kampung Tutus Hilir, Tutus Ulu, Kampung Sungai Ragai, Kampung Pedanga, Kampung Suyong dan Kampung Kuala Belingian. Saya mohon jalan tersebut perlu naik taraf. Saya juga mohon agar projek untuk membina jalan ke rumah renang Balingian bermula dari Jalan Pertanian sepanjang 3 kilometer diambil maklum. Permohonan jalan Kampung Teh ke Kampung Kelapa Baru Mukah telah pun diajukan kepada agensi pelaksana. Mohon mendapat kelulusan dan dilaksanakan segera. Naik taraf jalan raya pesisir pantai dari Balingian, Kuala Belingian, Kuala Tatau yang beralun dan berlubang perlu disegerakan. Jambatan, perlu diambil perhatian permohonan rakyat di kawasan saya yang menghubungkan rumah pantau ke rumah bakar di Setuan Besar, Setuan Besar, dan juga rumah Simon ke rumah Janin di Setuan Besar. Ia perlu dibina atas sebab jambatan yang sedia ada telah uzur dan tidak lagi selamat digunakan. Utility elektrik, terdapat beberapa rumah panjang yang masih tiada bekalan elektrik seperti rumah John, rumah Johnny di Bayan Ulu dan rumah Rawing di Bayan Tasik. Oleh yang demikian, mohon dipercepatkan penyambungan. Bekalan air bersih, terdapat isu tekanan air rendah di beberapa kawasan N58 Belingian seperti di Kampung Litong, Kampung Bunut, Kampung Tanjung, Kampung Kuala Belingian dan Setuan. Mohon disiasat dan diambil tindakan oleh agensi yang berkenaan. Manakala di kawasan Maben hingga ke Benawa, Liuk dan kampung tradisi Tutus Hilir masih belum mempunyai sistem penyaluran bagi membekal air bersih. Mohon agensi yang berkaitan menyiasat dan mengambil tindakan yang sewajarnya. Telekomunikasi, masalah liputan telekomunikasi yang terhad hampir berlaku di kebanyakan kawasan N58 Belingian. Mohon ditingkatkan tahap capaian internet. Keadaan tiang telekomunikasi juga mohon diselenggarakan memandangkan ada tiang dinaiki oleh tumbuhan yang melia dan ada tiang-tiang yang condong membahayakan pengguna jalan raya. Datuk Speaker, keagamaan, untuk makluman penduduk Islam di Kampung Litong adalah yang terbanyak di Dun N58 Belingian. Atas sebab surau yang sedia ada sudah uzur, perlu dibina baru, harap dapat dipertimbangkan permohonan bina baru surau dalam projek rakyat. Mohon menyambung jalan ke tanah perkuburan Sesok Baru dan tanah perkuburan Kristian di Sayo Balingian juga. Pelancongan, kepelbagaian budaya dan adat resam di N58 Balingian boleh dijadikan produk pelancongan. Dengan itu, kita mohon agensi yang berkenaan untuk menyediakan tapak kaul di Kampung Litong, Kampung Sebuloh dan Kuala Belingian. Taman-taman yang terdapat di kawasan N58 Belingian diakui oleh pengunjung mempunyai daya tarikan yang tersendiri. Oleh yang demikian, kita sarankan fasiliti yang sedia ada dinaik taraf supaya ianya kekal dan menarik. Taman yang sedia ada adalah Taman Tanjung Pedada dan Taman Kenyana yang kini terbiar. Skim pendapatan semula ataupun skim pembesaran kampung. Di kawasan saya, Dun N 58 Belingian, rakyat mohon agar skim pembesaran kampung diperlengkapkan dengan utiliti dan infrastruktur asas. Terdapat juga permohonan baru dikemukakan oleh penduduk dari Kampung Bunut, Kampung Suyong, Kampung Lintang, Kampung Pulat, Kampung Telabak dan Kampung South Siting untuk skim pembesaran kampung. Mohon diambil maklum oleh agensi yang berkaitan. Mohon status permohonan rumah mesra rakyat bagi 22 peserta yang telah ditemuduga dan dilulus bagi skim pembesaran kampung Belingian. Berdasarkan maklumat yang saya perolehi dari pihak HDC, penyediaan dokumen telah siap. Tenda akan dikeluarkan pada hujung April 2022 dan dijangka akan ditawarkan kepada penenda yang berjaya pada penghujung Jun 2022. Namun sehingga kini sepi tanpa berita. Fasiliti kesihatan. Terdapat banyak fasiliti kesihatan yang daib dan uzur. Perlu dinaik taraf seperti klinik Kampung Sesok, klinik Kampung Teh. Klinik kesihatan Kuala Belingian juga termasuk satu-satunya jambatan yang menghubungkan klinik ke jalan utama. Kini tidak selamat untuk digunakan. Manakala klinik kesihatan Belingian juga perlu dinaik taraf, termasuk mewujudkan farmasi dan baik pulih serta menambah kuartus yang sedia ada untuk kaki tangan di klinik tersebut. Ekonomi. Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Yang Amat Berhormat Premier kerana meluluskan projek Medan Selera Metedeng di bawah projek rakyat. Kini sudah beroperasi dan mendapat sambutan yang memberansangkan. Oleh yang demikian, saya mohon fasa kedua yang merangkumi pembinaan pasar tamu dan pasar tamu harian agar dipercepatkan pembinaan bagi memberi manfaat kepada peniaga-peniaga kecil yang sedia ada. Pendidikan. Masalah sekolah daib sering diungkit oleh penduduk di kawasan saya. Kita mohon bina baru SK Kuala Belingian, SK Jebungan dan SK Kenyana di tapak yang telah dikenal pasti lebih sesuai, memandangkan tapak sekolah yang ada sekarang kerap dilanda banjir dan terdedah kepada hakisan. Geran tanah. Masih terdapat isu permohonan geran tanah yang sudah disukat seperti di kawasan Setuan Kecil, Setejuk, Tuan Besar, Balingian, Liuk, Sebetong, Bayan Tasik, Bedengan dan Metedeng. Kita mohon supaya dipercepatkan pengeluaran geran tanah supaya ianya tidak akan menjadi isu politik setiap kali tiba pilihan raya. Jadi sebagai penutup, tidak terlambat untuk mengucapkan selamat hari raya, maaf zahir dan batin serta selamat hari gawai kepada rakan-rakan yang akan menyambut tidak lama lagi. Tidak lupa juga selamat menyambut 60 tahun kemerdekaan Sarawak yang ke-60 tahun. Dan dengan ini saya mohon menyokong. Sekian, wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Belingian. Ahli-ahli yang berhormat, I have on my list to debate this afternoon Yang Berhormat Bukit Semuja, followed by Yang Berhormat Pedungan, Yang Berhormat Pending, Yang Berhormat Batu Kitang, and so far until Yang Berhormat Ketibas. So may I call upon Yang Berhormat Bukit Semu Janau, please.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih Datuk Speaker. Salam sejahtera, salam Sarawakku sayang dan salam Sarawak Ibu Pertiwiku. Terima kasih kepada Datuk Speaker kerana telah memberi peluang dan kesempatan ini kepada saya untuk turut serta dan mengambil bahagian dalam membahaskan usul penghargaan atas ucapan Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak Tun Pihin Sri Haji Abdul Taib Mahmud sempena upacara pembukaan persidangan pertama penggal kedua Dewan Undangan Negeri yang ke-19 pada hari Isnin yang lepas. Sebelum saya meneruskan hujah saya dan selaku wakil daripada kawasan Bukit Semuja, saya ingin mengucapkan tahniah dan sabas kepada Premier kita Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zuhari bin Tun Abang Haji Openg yang telah memberi gambaran yang jelas kepada kerajaan perpaduan agar fokus kepada kestabilan politik dan memperkukuhkan ekonomi negara pada konvensyen kerajaan perpaduan beberapa hari yang lepas di Kuala Lumpur. Beliau juga mahu kerajaan perpaduan perlu menumpukan soal pembangunan antara wilayah, khususnya negeri-negeri yang bersempadan dengan negara jiran. Contohnya Sarawak yang berjiran dengan Kalimantan, iaitu Nusantara, di mana akan dibangunkan nanti. Datuk Speaker, dalam ucapan pembukaan persidangan yang oleh Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak, beliau dengan penuh yakin bahawa hubungan erat kerajaan Sarawak dan kerajaan persekutuan akan terus membawa banyak kebaikan kepada rakyat jelata dan seterusnya berharap kerajaan perpaduan dapat segera menyelesaikan tuntutan selaras Perjanjian Malaysia 63 ataupun MACCT, laporan IGC, Perlembagaan Sarawak dan Perlembagaan Persekutuan. Beliau juga berharap kerajaan persekutuan terus melaksanakan pembangunan di Sarawak untuk meningkatkan mutu perkhidmatan kesihatan dan pendidikan, membangun infrastruktur asas, menjaga kebajikan Sarawak, meningkatkan tahap keselamatan khususnya kawasan sempadan. Datuk Speaker, pada pilihan raya umum yang lepas, kita menyaksikan tiada satu parti politik atau gabungan parti politik yang berjaya memperoleh majoriti mudah untuk membentuk kerajaan dan tiada juga pihak yang boleh diangkat menjadi Perdana Menteri. Maka atas nasihat Duli Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Agong menyarankan supaya kerajaan perpaduan perlu diwujudkan bagi mengatasi kemelut politik negara. Oleh itu, Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS menyerah sepenuhnya kepercayaan dan akur kepada titah Yang di-Pertuan Agong berteraskan prinsip rukun negara dan mengikut kuasa yang ada pada Baginda di bawah Perlembagaan Malaysia. Baginda mahukan kerajaan yang kuat, stabil dan untuk memastikan kestabilan politik dan kesejahteraan rakyat perlu diutamakan. Kerajaan yang stabil sangat diperlukan untuk membolehkan kita memberi tumpuan kepada pemulihan ekonomi yang sedang merundum dan dijangka semakin buruk akibat gejala COVID-19 yang lepas. Bagi kita di Sarawak, kita bekerjasama dengan parti-parti yang disebutkan di peringkat persekutuan sahaja dan untuk membentuk kerajaan persekutuan. Manakala di peringkat negeri, parti-parti selain pada GPS masih merupakan parti pembangkang. Datuk Speaker, berikut adalah beberapa perkara umum yang ingin saya bangkitkan di Dewan Yang Mulia ini dan mohon supaya pihak-pihak yang berkenaan dapat mengambil tindakan yang sewajarnya. Pertama, tanah dipajak kepada Federal Land Commission FLC. Perdana Menteri Malaysia yang ke-10 Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim pada 20 Januari tahun 2023 telah menyatakan semasa sidang media selepas mempengerusikan mesyuarat tindakan pelaksanaan Perjanjian Malaysia MA 63 di Kompleks Dewan Undangan Negeri Sarawak, mengatakan bahawa mana-mana tanah negeri Sarawak yang telah dipajak kepada kerajaan persekutuan bertujuan untuk projek-projek pembangunan seperti sekolah, klinik ataupun hospital tetapi tidak dibangunkan mengikut tempoh harus diberi balik kepada kerajaan negeri. Ini bukan saja untuk negeri Sarawak tetapi melibatkan seluruh negeri di Malaysia. Oleh yang demikian, rakyat ingin tahu berapa banyakkah lot-lot atau kawasan tanah di negeri ini telah dipajak untuk masuk di atas, sama ada digunakan ataupun belum, dan di manakah lokasi-lokasinya, dan berapa banyak yang telah diserahkan balik kepada kerajaan negeri. Kedua, tabung bencana kerajaan negeri. Melihat kepada kekerapan berlakunya bencana di negeri ini, sama ada bencana semula jadi seperti banjir, tanah runtuh, angin kencang, angin kuat, dan bencana disebabkan kesilapan atau kealpaan manusia, seperti yang menyebabkan kerosakan harta benda yang sangat teruk, serta mengancam keselamatan nyawa seseorang seperti kebakaran, kemalangan harta benda dan kemalangan yang lain. Proses dan prosedur yang diamal pada masa ini tidak begitu mesra rakyat. Bermaksud terlalu lama untuk tindakan pembaikan, tindakan pemulihan, tindakan membina semula dan sebagainya. Proses kelulusan dan pemulihan untuk satu-satu kes bencana kadang-kadang mengambil masa bertahun-tahun ataupun bulan lamanya. Adalah dipohon agar satu tabung khas bencana di setiap bahagian akan dikawal setia oleh jawatan kuasa bahagian untuk memudah dan mempercepatkan tindakan bagi mana-mana kes bencana yang berlaku. Ketiga, ini yang baru kita dengar, Pacific Ring of Fire. Baru-baru ini kita telah terbaca atau melihat dari surat-surat akhbar dan media sosial bahawa Malaysia, khususnya wilayah Sabah dan Sarawak, iaitu utara Sarawak, ini termasuk dalam Pacific Ring of Fire. Ini bermakna ada kemungkinan bencana gempa bumi akan berlaku bila-bila masa, dan kita telah menyaksikan apa yang telah berlaku di Sabah dalam tahun 2015 dan juga tahun lepas, tahun 2022. Maka dengan itu, apakah plan tindakan pihak kerajaan negeri mengenai perkara ini? Adakah satu jabatan khas, satu unit khas ditubuhkan, ataupun pasukan khas untuk mengendali, mengawal selia atau membuat program-program kesedaran kepada rakyat mengenai perkara ini? Keempat, projek sakit. Kerajaan negeri Sarawak sedang berusaha dengan gigih untuk memberi kemudahan asas kepada rakyat khususnya di luar bandar, dan banyak projek pembangunan, projek perhubungan, projek untuk kesejahteraan rakyat dan sebagainya telah dilulus dan perlu disiap mengikut tempoh masa yang tertentu. Namun kita sering dengar, lihat, baca mengenai projek sakit, projek tenat dan sebagainya, yang mana proses-proses pembinaan mengikut tempoh masa tidak mengikut yang sepatutnya. Kadang-kadang ditinggalkan berbulan-bulan lamanya, bertahun-tahun lamanya, kontraktor bertukar ganti dan tiada penghujung permasalahan mengenai perkara ini. Ini memberi gambaran yang negatif dan pihak kerajaan biasanya dipersalahkan. Maka dengan itu, apakah tindakan pihak kerajaan negeri mengenai perkara ini, khususnya kepada pemaju, kontraktor atau pihak-pihak yang bertanggungjawab dalam hal ataupun permasalahan ini? Yang kelima, policy of inclusivity. In our state of Sarawak, we enjoy and adopt a reliable form of administration whereby none of our community being left out within the stream and framework of our development, be it social or physical. Under the able and foresighted capable premier, we share, we divide what we should have. Unifor as an example. However, it isn't a complete form inclusivity whereby Seventh-day Adventist private school, namely Sunny Hill School in Kuching and Aimani School in Siaran, is not listed under Mission School in Sarawak. Mission School elsewhere were given government grant under Unifor, while other private schools enjoy in one way or another forms of assistance from the state government. Thus, in this August House, I hope this school be included and listed as where it's supposed to be. After all, the role and function in human development and education is similar to others and adhere to our education policy. 6. Industri kelapa sawit. Penggiat-penggiat industri kelapa sawit di negeri sedang berhadapan dengan pelbagai isu dan keadaan masa hadapan yang tidak menentu, khususnya dengan polisi European Union setelah diluluskan pada bulan Disember yang lepas. Polisi yang bertujuan untuk menghalang mengimport barangan hasil pertanian yang dianggap merosakkan hutan ke pasarannya. Ini bukan saja melibatkan kelapa sawit, tetapi juga termasuk hasil kayu balak, getah, koko, kopi dan sebagainya. Sudah jatuh di tempat tangga pula dengan harga input seperti baja, racun yang mahal, ditambah pula dengan sekatan EU ini. Sudah pasti para petani kita, khususnya pengusaha ataupun pekebun kecil, akan berhadapan dengan masalah ini. Perkara kedua berkenaan industri kapal sawit ialah cukai SST, Sarawak Sales Tax, yang dikenakan oleh kerajaan negeri. Sungguh pun dikenakan atas pengeluaran minyak mentah sahaja dengan kadar yang agak rendah, tetapi secara tidak langsung pihak pekebun-pekebun kecil juga terkesan. Justru itu, mohon pihak kerajaan negeri mencari formula yang terbaik untuk menangani isu ini, memandangkan kerajaan Sarawak punya banyak sumber kewangan yang lain, karbon, alge dan sebagainya. Seterusnya ialah Mahkamah Bumi Putera Sarawak. Saya ingin merakamkan berbanyak terima kasih kepada Timbalan Menteri yang bertanggungjawab mengenai perkara ini semasa sesi pertanyaan lisan tadi. Memandangkan proses-proses terakhir dalam cadangan menstruktur semula dan menaik taraf status mahkamah ini, maka saya merujuk agar pihak kerajaan negeri mengambil tindakan yang lebih serius supaya perkara-perkara yang berhubung kait dengannya dapat dilaksanakan dengan segera. Masalah seperti kes-kes tertangguh, begitu juga dengan permohonan untuk status bumi putera, sudah pasti dapat diselesaikan dengan segera jika magistrate sepenuh masa dan mereka yang berterlatih diambil untuk mengendalikannya. Ini bukan bermakna kita menidakkan kemampuan mereka yang sedia ada, tetapi untuk menaikkan martabat mahkamah ini dari satu tahap ke satu tahap yang sama seperti mahkamah-mahkamah lain di negeri ini. Dato' Speaker, izinkan saya mengemukakan beberapa isu dan permasalahan bagi kawasan saya N23 Bukit Semuja di Dewan Yang Mulia ini. Yang pertama, bangunan sekolah SK Terbekang yang dibina atau dipanggil menggunakan kaedah kabin adalah tidak selamat dan kurang sesuai untuk digunakan. Bangunan tersebut perlu dibaik pulih ataupun dibina semula, dan mohon pihak berkenaan mengambil tindakan yang sewajarnya. SMK Siaran nombor 2 dan SK Sri Sadong yang masih ditunggu-tunggu pembinaannya, apakah status setakat ini dan kenapa terlalu lama? Yang seterusnya, status klinik kesihatan Triboh yang terbakar beberapa tahun yang lepas. Kini klinik tersebut sedang menyewa di bangunan kedai di simpang Jalan Gedong, Siaran. So kita pun mahu apakah tindakan susulan oleh pihak-pihak yang berkenaan. Klinik kesihatan Terbekang perlu dibina semula sekurang-kurangnya, dibaik pulih ataupun dinaik taraf. So it is a very sad thing to see that such two important clinic in my constituency perlu naik taraf. Seterusnya ia bekalan elektrik luar bandar atau BELB dan juga lampu jalan. Setakat 26 hari bulan April tahun 2023, menurut rekod yang terdapat di pejabat kita, terdapat 548 buah rumah di hampir semua kampung di kawasan Bukit Semua di kawasan ini masih belum menerima atau menikmati kemudahan elektrik di kawasan Bukit Semua. Kemudahan asas seperti ini seharusnya diambil berat oleh agensi-agensi berkenaan. Bagi projek lampu jalan, juga setakat tarikh yang sama, sejumlah 153 unit diperlukan untuk 10 buah kampung. Ini yang kita telah kemukakan kepada agensi yang berkenaan. Dato' Speaker, sebelum saya mengundur diri, marilah kita sama-sama meraihkan ulang tahun ke-60 Sarawak Merdeka bagi menghargai sumbangan para penjuang kemerdekaan Sarawak. Peranannya dimainkan oleh mereka telah membawa kestabilan, kesejahteraan dan pembangunan yang kita nikmati sekarang. So dengan itu, selamat Hari Raya, selamat Hari Gawai. Dengan ini saya menyokong. Sekian, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Bukit Semuja. May I call upon Yang Berhormat Padungan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to debate on the motion of thanks to the TYT, the Governor's address on Monday. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight a few of the plights and issues of the common people on the street and common Sarawakians, fellow Sarawakians. Issue number one is the problem that they are facing. A lot of these landowners are facing now of late in respect of the application to renew their land leases, and in particular land leases of agricultural land. Mr. Speaker, many of these landowners, they inherited from their grandfather, their father, and they have siblings sharing one parcel of agricultural land. And staying together, each of the siblings will build their own houses on a plot, a parcel of agricultural land. And after many years, the family grew and more houses were built. These are all in the more of the rural areas. And now many of them are facing the problem that their land leases, the tenure of their land leases are expiring. So they have to apply for the renewal of their land leases. And when they make the application to the Land and Survey, their applications were rejected on the ground that it is the condition of their land title that for each parcel of agricultural land, there's only one building allowed. And they were rejected, their application were rejected, and they were asked to demolish all the other houses, leaving one house standing, so that their application can be extended. I think that is ridiculous. Mr. Speaker, this agricultural land consists of about 5 acres, 10 acres, few acres. And they were handed down, inherited from their father or grandfather. So each sibling they will do a private subdivision, and they will build a house for their own family. And because of that, now they have they are facing this problem that where in another 5-10 years time, their land leases will expire, and we all know the consequence of the expiry of land leases if their land leases were not renewed. The land goes back to the government, and they will be left high and dry without any compensation. And there are also some of these landowners, they have carried out some backyard industry business, workshop. They built a workshop on their agricultural land. This land were not in the town areas. They are somewhere in the jungle. Not jungle, maybe outskirts where there is no housing development nearby. So they were carrying out some small business. But because it was agricultural land and they have a workshop on the land, and also their application for renewal of these land leases were rejected by the Land and Survey. Mr. Speaker, I think this such a policy of the government is most unfair. If I remember correctly, about 15 years ago, before Mr. Speaker was in this house, there was also some problem, huge problem faced by the Rakyat in terms of application for renewal of land leases. And at that time, well, there was then the Sarawak Barisan Nasional were very strong. This problem were not addressed. And subsequently, after a few years, with the trouncing of SUPP, where they lost about 13, 14 seats out of the 19 seats they contest, finally, that land lease renewal problem of the people will resolve. And the Rakyat continue. And now, after 2021, a huge victory of this GPS, again, we have this land lease renewal problem, although it's a different problem, but it concerns the land rights, property rights of the people. Maybe well, this SUPP need to lose a few more seats in the coming state election before this problem can be resolved. But anyway, Mr. Speaker, I will urge and appeal to the government and to have a review of this policy on the application for land lease renewal, especially in particular in respect of agricultural land. It is unfair. It is unfair that when a few of the co-proprietors sharing a parcel of agricultural land and they can only have one house built on the land, all this may be considered as a breach of title condition, but these are technical breach. And breach of title condition should be dealt with separately rather than to lump it together with their application for extension or renewal of land leases. And while I'm on that, I also like to highlight to Mr. Speaker in this House that last year, sometime in June, the government has done a recategorization of land throughout Sarawak. Many of these country land were recategorized as town land or suburban land. What is the implication of that? The implication is on the amount of premium that the landowner has to pay for renewal of land leases. Mr. Speaker, under the present policy, if an agricultural land is categorized as town land, the renewal premium for 60 years is 5,000 per acre. And if the land is classified as agricultural suburban land, the renewal rate is 2,500 per acre. And if it's country land, it's 200 per acre. So many of that land, even in Batu Kawah area, Kota Sentosa, and Batu Kitang areas, they were previously categorized as country land. Therefore, the renewal rates that the landowner have to pay if upon extension is 200 per acre. But with this recategorization of land exercise done in 2022, June, many of these land were recategorized as town land, and thereby making it to 5,000 per acres. It is, in a way, an increase of 25 times, 2,500% of the rate premium payable by these landowners. This is another issue, Mr. Speaker. I believe that that recategorization exercise was done after the 2021 GPS victory. I mean, the Rakyat should not be rewarded in such a huge hike in the land premium renewal rate. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that the government can look into this issue and relax the application for land lease renewal, and also to reconsider, to review the premium payable by these landowners upon for their extension of land leases. Issue number 2, abandoned housing projects. There are many abandoned housing projects or sick projects whereby house owners purchase their house expecting to have their house delivered with occupation permits within 2 years after they sign the sale and purchase agreement. which is provided under the Housing Development Control and Licensing Ordinance 2013. However, many of these errant housing developers, they either delay for many months or years. Some of them has even abandoned their projects. And one of them is, I would like to highlight, is Taman Sri Kengalang housing project at Jalan Matan, 9 Mile. The expected completion date of this housing project was supposed to be sometime in 2020, year 2020. But till this day, I think the buyers have not got their houses. Right, they have approached Ministry of Housing. The Minister of Housing is just not proactive, or doesn't, I would say, doesn't do his job, saying that, oh, this is private development, leave it to the private sector. But, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the law, the ordinance, the Housing Development Control and Licensing Ordinance 2013, in fact, it's provided in Section 27 of the ordinance, empowering the minister to act where there is a sick project, there's a delay in the project for more than 6 months, and where the house purchasers were prejudiced. All right, I will just quote some of the provision here. Section 27, where on his own volition, a housing developer informs the controller, or where as a result of an investigation made under Section 15, or for any reasons the controller is of the opinion that the housing developer has or is likely to become unable to meet his obligations to his purchasers, or is about to suspend his building operation, or is carrying on his business in a manner detrimental to the interests of his purchasers. The minister may, either on his own motion or on the report of the controller, for the purpose of safeguarding the interests of the purchasers of the housing developer, A, B, C. C is where it matters. Direct any other housing developer, hereinafter referred to as the designated housing developer, to assume control and carry on the business of the housing developer upon such terms and conditions as the minister may determine with a view to completing any housing development which the housing developer is undertaking. Mr. Speaker, we have the law. This House has passed a law empowering the minister to act in appropriate time, in appropriate manner, to safeguard and protect the houses, the interests of house purchasers. But we have a Minister of Housing who is more fond of tengok saja and not acting. Kita ada bagi kuasa kepada beliau, ada undang-undang yang beri kuasa kepada beliau, tapi beliau memegang jawatan tak buat kerja, tengok saja. So I think the Minister of Housing should be more proactive in protecting the interests of house purchaser. Otherwise, the house purchaser, they are common people. They have lifelong savings just to buy a house and expecting a house to stay after 2 years after signing the agreement. But yet, after 5 years, 6 years, in the case of this Taman Sri Kengalang, after 5 years, 6 years, and they are still waiting for their houses to be delivered, and the developer is nowhere to be found. And I think the Minister for Housing should be more proactive to help the victims of this errant housing developer. And I'll call upon the ministry to act more proactively. And if we see what happened after the Kerajaan Perpaduan was formed, all right, here in a report here, it was reported in May this year, only 6 months after the new federal government was formed. The Deputy Minister says 92 problematic private housing projects with RM5 billion GDV successfully restored in first quarter 2023. Is it the difference between an effective Minister for Housing and an ineffective Minister of Housing? Within just 3 months, 92 sick or abandoned housing projects were restored. And that is on the federal side. We have autonomy at the state level for housing, but we have also a minister who doesn't back up, is not proactive to help or to restore this sick project.
Yang Mohamad,
Yes.
my observation so far, I think you have emphasized so much on what I call a blame game on the minister. More or less, I feel that, to be fair, why not you tell your part of the story in such a way that you address the ministry rather than Mr.
Okay.
As a
Mr.
person.
Speaker, while you are
I think,
the clock.
to be fair, so that
Mr. Speaker,
unless you are really,
yes.
really sure, the minister himself as a person, tengok saja. Unless you have the
Mr.
evidence,
Speaker,
whatever.
Mr.
To be fair, just refer to the ministry.
Mr. Speaker,
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, why I address this to the minister? Because we have the law. We empower the minister under 27, Section 27, where he has the power. The minister may, either on his own motion or on the report of the controller, appoint a designated housing developer. The
Very
power
well.
is given specifically to the minister.
Very
Mr.
well.
Speaker.
That's what the
Therefore,
laws.
the minister has been taken to task when this problem like this, housing projects were not completed after 5 years, after 6 years of the signing of the agreement happens. The minister must be taken to task. And it's not fair
To be
blame it
fair,
on
Yang
the
Mohamad, as I
civil
said just now,
servants
just
and the
refer
ministry.
to the ministry rather than to the minister. As a
So
person.
you
Because
can't
don't
blame
be
the
too
civil servant,
judgmental
you
as
can't
yet.
blame the ministry when the power is given to the minister. So, Mr. Speaker, okay, I come to the next issue. Flash flood problem. Mr. Speaker, I think flash flood problem is getting worse, from bad to worse in Kuching. We have repeatedly called for the disclosure of a master plan on this, how to address the flash flood issue. But, well, the master plan is not forthcoming. And we have heard so much about the federal cutting their funding. The blame has been put on federal cutting their funding during the 2018-2019 PH government. That was in the past. But yet, Mr. Speaker, we have a meeting recently with the DID, Drainage and Irrigation Department in Kuching here. There was 150 million allocation for this Pembangunan Lembangan Sungai Bersepadu, Sungai Sarawak. It has been allocated since 2019. The money was sitting there. But until today, it has not been used. And when we wrote a letter to the DID, they say they are still waiting for some notice of change or whatever. And therefore, there's a delay in the implementation of this project. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to reiterate again, 150 million was sitting in the DID since 2019, before the fall of PH government. And yet, until today, it is still sitting there. So, who to blame?
Okay.
DID or the minister? Anyway, but this is a house.
Yeah,
and
you
this
have 1
issue
minute
ought to be brought up.
to close.
And the residents of this Happy Valley and are not so happy now, and Taman Durian Borong of Jalan Tunjungan, they have repeatedly asking the government to act, and yet excuses have been given and given. They have been be around the bush for so many years. I hope that by the end of this year, the project can start. Issue number 4, Mr. Speaker.
And Mohamad, you have less than 20 minutes now.
No, you interrupt me. Give me 2 minutes. On lorry
Alright.
drivers, Mr. Speaker, lorry drivers. I'll term them as modern slavery in Sarawak. Why I say so? Lorry drivers are compelled in a way to carry overloaded gravels, earth, and even the palm oil. Why? Because they were compelled by way of market forces to carry overloaded loads of gravels and earth, all this, to survive. Now, Mr. Speaker, they were, in a way, exploited by quarry owners, by developers, big-time contractors to carry overload. And when not only they were exploited by these groups, but when they are on the road, the JPJ, the PDRM will issue summons against them. Right? And also, by carrying overload, 10 tons, their permitted loads are 10 tons, but they are forced to carry 20 tons sometimes. And when the police or the JPJ stops them, they have to pay fine. Mr. Speaker, I would suggest how the state government can help these lorry drivers. Because what they are doing, it poses a danger, not only to themselves, but also to other road users. Because with overloaded lorries, their braking system sometimes fail. And they also more wear and tear for their spare parts. But if they insist on carrying permitted load, these contractors, developers, the quarry owners, all these, they will not engage them. Because other lorry drivers can carry overloaded, but you want to carry only within the permitted load. So, in a way, they are compelled to do that. Now, how the state government can help them? The state government should impose conditions on these quarry operators, on these oil palm companies, developers, contractors. So long as these lorry drivers carry overloaded goods, the employer, the company that engage the services of this lorry driver will be penalized.
Okay, Yang Muhammad, you can close.
If that can be introduced, I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, no lorry drivers will take the risk to carry overloaded loads for their lorries.
Okay,
so,
your time is
Mr.
up,
Speaker,
Yang Muhammad.
I hope these are the few issues that I've highlighted, and that the government can look into that, because quarry operators, owners, developer, contractors, and oil palm companies, they are governed by our state government. Right? JPJ may be a matter of federal government, but all these are within the state government authority, and the state government is in the position to help these lorry drivers.
Okay, Yang Muhammad,
right.
over 3 minutes.
So I've 2 more issues, Mr. Speaker.
No, I'm sorry. Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Speaker. Okay, thank you, Mr.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, your time is up. Your time is up. You can ask your colleague from the opposition side to raise. Okay, may I call, thank you, Yang Muhammad Padungan. Yang Muhammad Pening, please. Pening.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in 2020, the Sarawak government took on the challenge of implementing the dual language program in primary school across the state, using English as the medium of instruction for science and mathematics subjects. As we entered the 3rd year of the program's implementation, I want to express my full support for the DLP and urge the state government to continue its efforts. Mr. Speaker, however, the crucial question remains, how prepared is Sarawak to ensure the successful implementation of DLP? We cannot just go for war but not having the army prepare for it. It has come to my attention that despite the formulation of policies, the Sarawak government neglected crucial factors when preparing for the implementation of the DLP. These factors include ensuring the readiness of trained teachers specializing in science and mathematics to effectively teach the subjects in English, as well as establishing robust monitoring and review mechanism to assess the program's effectiveness. By merely allowing the program to run without monitoring or evaluating its effectiveness is not an ideal approach. It is imperative to inquire whether the Sarawak Education Department has ever conducted any assessment to identify and address potential problems and obstacles that may have arisen since the commencement of DLP. Furthermore, it is crucial to determine if any system were put in place to evaluate the program's success and measure its impact. We should be concerned that many of the teachers assigned to teach mathematics and science in English were categorized as non-optional teachers. This categorization implies that they were not specifically trained in mathematics and science, but rather in other subjects such as Agama, English, Geography, History, or Bahasa Malaysia, and this issue has not been seriously addressed. I am concerned as I was made to understand that less than R1 million, which was around 700,000, was spent yearly to train the teachers on the course in the hotel for only 4 days and 3 nights. And this includes lodging, camps, teaching modules, and tools. I was informed that there was about 650 teachers trained in the hotel last year to get ready to teach DLP. Are those hours sufficient for the teachers to be trained and effectively pass on what they have learned to the students given the brevity of the training course? 4 days, 3 nights sounds like a short holiday package, where one has to utilize every minute to savor the sightseeing as much as possible. And to think the teachers who were not qualified in the field of maths and science are put on such short training stint to teach our children. It is vital for the Sarawak State Government to address these deficiencies with a strategic approach. The Ministry of Education, Innovation and Talent Development Sarawak should get the federal side to prioritize the recruitment of more Sarawakian teachers specializing in science and mathematics for training in any of the 4 Sarawak Teacher Training College, which we have IPG Tun Advul Razak Samarahan, IPG Batulintang, IPG Rejang Bintango, and IPG Sarawak Emiri. It is ironic that these 4 teacher training college possess excellent facilities such as science laboratories, yet it is disheartening to note that not a single teacher is being trained there with major in mathematics and science subjects. This is truly astonishing and calls for immediate attention. The Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development Sarawak, despite toothless due to lacking of autonomy, still bears the responsibility to rectify this situation, as the quality of teachers plays a pivotal role in determining the success or failure of the DLP. The Sarawak Ministry of Education, Innovation and Talent Development must effectively communicate this demand to the Ministry of Education at federal level, ensuring that the issue is being acknowledged. Sarawak government should insist that Sarawakian teachers who teach in the DLP are trained in mathematics and science, equipping them with the necessary qualification to educate our Sarawakian children. We must recognize that assigning non-qualified teachers to teach the DLP in Sarawak will not lead to a viable solution for the advancement of our state's education system. Mr. Speaker, the World Health Organization has unequivocally recognized child marriage as a harmful practice with severe health implications for those involved. Child marriage, which refers to the marriage or union of individuals under the age of 18, irrespective of consent, is deemed a violation of human rights, particularly the rights of children. This practice often denies them the opportunity for holistic physical, emotional, and social development. The repercussions of child marriage are profound, including increased risk of yearly pregnancy and childbirth complications, limited educational opportunities, and vulnerability to domestic violence and abuse, and higher rates of poverty. Regrettably, our state of Sarawak bears the unfortunate distinction of having the highest incidence of child marriage in Malaysia. The Sarawak Women for Women Society, an NGO, has voiced deep concern regarding this matter and has initiated a petition gathering so far a total of 734 signatures, urging the Sarawak state government to take immediate action to combat this issue. Currently, under Sarawak Sharia law, the minimum age for marriage differs from males and females. Male must be at least 18, while females can marry at 16. However, Sharia judges are allowed to approve marriages even for those under 16. Customary marriage, on the other hand, lacks specific regulation, resulting in rural children being particularly susceptible to early marriage without penalty. Consequently, SWWS called upon the state government to address this issue seriously. Firstly, they urged that the tabling of a bill in this August House to amend the Islamic Family Law Ordinance 2001, thereby increasing the minimum age of marriage for females from 16 to 18 and eliminating all exceptions that permit underage marriage. Secondly, they request that the Council for Native Custom and Traditions secure the consent of all community leaders to raise the minimum age to 18 by this year. Lastly, they propose the formation of a special select committee to investigate and report on the policy, implementation, prevalence, causal factors, and solution to child marriage in Sarawak. Mr. Speaker, the time has come for a legislative reform. It is one of the crucial measures that can be implemented to combat child marriage. While I concur with the Minister, the Sarawak Women, Child Development and Community Welfare Minister assertion that collective responsibility is necessary, encompassing parents, school, religious and customary institutions, non-governmental organizations, community leaders, and the community itself. Let us not overlook the crucial role of the state government in addressing and preventing child marriage. It is crucial for the Sarawak government to ensure that existing inadequate state laws and policy are tightened as soon as possible to eradicate child marriage. Closing legal loopholes that enable child marriages to occur with parental or judicial consent is all that is required. Mr. Speaker, I wish to shed light on a pressing issue regarding the dire living condition of many households in Sarawak. Based on 2022 e-KASE database, 97,000 households in Sarawak are currently grappling with poverty. Among them, 39,858 households are classified as hardcore poor, while 57,281 are considered poor. Kuching, Simunjan, and Siaran emerged as the district with highest poverty rates. Unfortunately, the situation has deteriorated this year rather than showing any signs of improvement. Even the middle class has been impacted, finding themselves downgraded due to escalating inflation. The rising cost of essential goods and food have burdened the people, and general populace is feeling the pinch. Consequently, individuals are forced to tighten their belts in order to make ends meet. Mr. Speaker, allow me to draw attention to the introduction of an Airbus corporate jet ACJ319 to this August House. This remarkable private jet boasts an exceptional interior, complete with amenities such as a dining room, living area, bedroom, a meeting room, entertainment area, a bathroom with a walk-in shower, and a business class style seating section. With a seating capacity of just about 19 people, this jet is exclusively accessible to the most affluent travelers, including corporations, royals, and head of states. Based on my research, the average hourly rental rate for this private corporate jet is 18,600 USD. Based on a rough estimation, if one were to use this ACJ319 for a trip to Europe, the rental cost alone could easily amount to millions of Malaysian ringgit. It has come to my attention that a trip that took place just 2 weeks ago involving the Right Honourable Premier, several ministers and State Secretary and their spouses. They travelled to London to attend the London Craft Week event. I'm all for this London Craft Week event. I'm not against them going there. What caught my attention was the mode of transportation chosen for this trip, a luxurious Airbus ACJ 319 corporate jet. It is worth noting that the expenses incurred for renting this airline
Point of order. Can you raise it, please? Which point of order? Standing order? Standing order?
Addressed by the Tuan Yang Utama on this particular.
Proceed.
I think you are off tangent.
You are not the speaker. I have already told you don't disturb me when I speak, but you still want to make a shame of yourself again and again in this house. Okay, because it's interesting to share it here, and I believe that many of us here would like to know about this jet. You know, this jet is also used by the Russian President Putin. See, how special is this? What caught my attention was the mode of transportation chosen for this trip, a luxurious Airbus ACJ 319 corporate jet. It is worth noting that the expenses incurred for renting this airline, excluding in-flight food charges from a prestige hotel, someone told me it's Hilton, I'm not sure, but the expenses solely for the airline rental on this trip, excluding the in-flight food charges from could approximately reach 4 to 5 million. How do you calculate 4 to 5 million? You take 18,600 times 34. Why it is 34 hours? Because you need to ferry the flight. You need to count your travel flight from Kuching, Dubai, London, and then London, Dubai, and come back. And then plus the
When you say point of order, can you...
In the TYT's address on this particular issue. I think the Dewan here should not be listening and be subjected
Mr. Speaker, you should not let him interject because you have already told him I'm not off tangent, but he still keep on disturbing.
This is
okay. While I fully support our state leaders in attending significant events in London, and I'm aware that our state possesses the means to cover all expenses incurred during overseas trip by the Premier, Deputy Premiers and Minister, I question the necessity for such extravagant travel arrangements. Mr. Speaker, I would like to emphasize that even if our struck GPS state Premier, Deputy Premiers and Minister were to choose an ordinary airline or opt for business class or first class.
Yang Muhammad Pending, I just want to say this to Yang Muhammad Kota Sentosa. If you raise a point of order, please cite the standing order that you are referring to. Number one, yeah, where are the, what they call, the thing that you want to raise, yeah? And then if there's a genuine, what they call that issue, then I will let it be heard. But anyway, Pending, you carry on because this is a TYT address, okay?
Mr. Speaker, you have to stop the time when you speak and when Kota Sentosa interject, otherwise it's unfair to me. Satok, jaga you punya orang selalu kacau, Satok. Okay, I would like to emphasize that even if our struck GPS state Premier, Deputy Premiers and Minister were to choose an ordinary airline or opt for business class or first class, they would still be able to reach London. There is simply no need for extravagant travel arrangements using the Comlux Airbus AC9319 corporate jet, while expecting the taxpayer of Sarawak to foot the...
Order 32 says that it is very clearly stated that the member shall confine his observation to the subject under discussion and may not introduce matters irrelevant thereto. And I think we have been hearing a lot of irrelevant matters, especially on this private jet, which is not even in the speak. Order 32, Rule 1. I think we need to make a... This is an inappropriate forum.
I heard you, Kota Sentosa.
You are not the speaker. Stop, kacau. Stop.
I heard you, Kota Sentosa. This is a 280 address.
He already said he heard you. It is crucial to remember that this trip could have been planned well in advance, and there is no urgency to rush to London, so no need to use the corporate jet. In any event, it was Prince Charles who was crowned king and not someone from Sarawak GPS. So no hurry, no need to rush to London. Just use first class, cukup. Mr. Speaker, initially, applicants aged 60 and above in Kuching were permitted to apply manually by completing physical application forms and submitting them to Kuching Welfare Office for Kenyalang Gold Card. However, since the beginning of this year, the counter staff at Kuching Welfare Office has refused to accept any physical application forms for KGC. This refusal has caused a multitude of problems. It is disheartening to witness such a lack of consideration for the elderly by the Sarawak Welfare Department. In Sarawak Welfare Department website, it clearly states that applicants can obtain the form from welfare departments, resident officers, district and sub-district officers throughout the state. Alternatively, they can download the form from the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development website and submit it to nearby participating government officers. It is perplexing why the Sarawak Social Welfare Department promotes one approach while the Kuching Welfare Office implements a different one. The inconsistency between these two raises concerns and confusion among the public. It is crucial to address this discrepancy and establish uniformity in the application process for Kenyalang Card. Mr. Speaker, applying for this KGC online is not a simple task of completing an online form via iSarawak Care. Instead, before applicants can even begin entering their details, it is mandatory for them to register a Sarawak ID account. The irony lies in the fact that the Kenyalang Gold Card is intended for senior citizens, and it is widely known that majority of them are not technologically proficient. The process of registering a Sarawak ID account itself poses an issue as it involves several laborious steps. Elderly applicants must either create an account themselves or be physically present with someone who can assist them. This is to ensure that all the necessary personal information is shared and entered correctly. Once an applicant successfully registered a Sarawak ID account, it is crucial for them to remember their password, as creating or registering another account is not allowed. Only then can they proceed to log on to Sarawak iCare and complete the online application for the Kenyalang Gold Card. The entire process is nothing short of a nightmare for them. While it is true that many senior citizens possess mobile phones, not all of them own smartphones, tablets, or computers. Therefore, I must ask the Honourable Minister from Dalan, how do you expect this elderly individual to apply online for Kenyalang Gold Card when the process is so cumbersome? Furthermore, how many of these elderly men and women even have an email address? We are discussing city dwellers here, and they already find the application process for KGC so burdensome. Imagine the hardship faced by the seniors from the rural areas who need to go through this ordeal just to apply for a card. We are not against the government going digital, Sarawak government's digital initiative. However, we must acknowledge that there are some senior citizens who do not feel the need to be technologically savvy and simply wish to lead a simple life. That is why it remains necessary to establish a physical service counter to accommodate this particular group. I have received complaints from senior citizens who approach the Kuching Welfare Department to obtain forms for the KGC, only to be informed by the counter staff that application must be made online, and if they do not know how, they should go back and seek assistance from their anak. Such a response is unfair to them. There are parents who live alone, whose children reside overseas, or who do not want to burden their children. What about those senior citizens who have no children or who remain single? We need to show empathy towards the elderly. It is crucial to understand the unnecessary difficulties and limitations imposed by the Welfare Department in obtaining a simple card. Why should the process be so rigid? After all, it is not a card, it's made of gold. Unlike credit cards, bank cards, is merely a plastic card used for discount shopping and to provide eligible beneficiaries with 3,000 in death compassionate assistance. Additionally, it is imperative for the Welfare Department to establish an improved delivery system for the Kenyalang Gold Card. Currently, there is lack of proper system that inform applicants about the time frame required for approving their KGC application and notifying them when the card is ready for collection. Lastly, before I conclude, I would like to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude to Land and Survey Department Sarawak for their prompt and efficient services in addressing the matter for which I sought assistance. I extend my thanks to the Superintendent and their teams from the Kuching, Saramahan, and Siaran branches for their exceptional work. Furthermore, I would like to acknowledge the leadership of Director Dato' Abdullah bin Julahi, whose dedication has fostered a committed team. I hope that they will continue to provide such efficient services in the future. And with that, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Yang Muhammad Pening. Next, Yang Berhormat Batu Kitang, please. Batu Kitang.
Mencari timba si anak dara, di bawah sarang burung tempua. Salam sembah pembuka bicara. Selamat datang untuk semua. Thank you, Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker. Thank you for the honor and the opportunity to debate on Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak's opening address at the first meeting of the second term of the 19th State Legislative Assembly. I support His Excellency Tuan Yang Terutama's address, where Tuan Yang Terutama prioritizes political stability, Federal Sarawak Cooperation, the Sarawak Ku Sayang Special Assistance Package, worth 6.7 billion, post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030, the digital economy, new economies, and new green technology-based economy. Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker, I express my gratitude to our esteemed Yang Amat Berhormat Premier for leading our state towards economic and political stability. His Excellency Tuan Yang Terutama also highlighted Yang Amat Berhormat's exceptional capabilities in managing our economy, which resulted in a GDP of 136 billion in 2019. The state has a projected GDP of 282 billion by 2030, positioning us as a developed state by that year. With the plan, a total of 195,000 jobs will be created. Household income can be raised to 15,047 ringgit, which will undoubtedly contribute to narrowing the urban-rural development gap in Sarawak. We have long been advocating for autonomy under MA 63. Tuan Yang Terutama, in his opening address, hoped that the new unity government would give priority on outstanding issues and negotiations associated with MA 63 and the Intergovernmental Continental Report. While we have gained sales tax and other benefits, we are now seeking autonomy in education and healthcare, among other rights. With our Yang Amat Berhormat Premier leading the charge, I am confident that we will succeed. We applaud Yang Amat Berhormat Premier's official launching of the first industrial microalgae production, the Cheetos Carbon Capture Central Sarawak C4 this month. This is proof of our esteemed Premier's dedication to improve the economy of Sarawak while fighting for the rights of Sarawakians. The microalgae cultivation provides a green method of capturing CO2 aligned with Sarawak's green energy agenda. The lipids derived from the algae biomass is able to create sustainable aviation fuel, which has the potential to bring billions of ringgit to our state while helping the world achieve net zero carbon emissions. The lipids can also be used in animal feeds and pharmaceuticals, creating new job opportunities. Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker, I humbly urge this August House to support Yang Amat Berhormat Premier's initiative for economic uplift and sustainable practices. We applaud his visionary leadership and the promising future ahead. Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker, I commend YB Padungan, the MP for Stampin, for his efforts in securing federal funds for the construction of a fire station. Unfortunately, he is not here to listen. However, Bomba Sarawak Director has stated that we need an additional 23 fire stations to meet the demands of our growing population. Currently, there are only 39 fire stations in our state. I would also like to acknowledge YB Padungan's success in securing funds to raise one fire hydrant from the ground in Mount Tree. Dato' Deputy Speaker, as for the different types of fire hydrants, sluice valve, or what we know as underground fire hydrants, are found where there is limited space, and especially from the old days when development came first, before the birth of fire hydrants. It is worthy to note that there are many more of such sluice valve hydrants beneath the road in the parliamentary constituency of Stampin. It is imperative that YB Padungan focuses on his duty as an MP to seek federal funds, additional funds from Parliament for Bomba, a federal agency, to upgrade the numerous existing sluice valve hydrants to pillar hydrants which are above ground and more visible. I also urge YB Padungan to take responsibility for the issues affecting Mile 8 and Mile 15 of the federal roads. I have repeatedly requested for a flyover to alleviate congestion at Mile 8, and the same urgency applies to the much-needed overhead pedestrian walkway across Jalan Dato' Tawisli and another one across Jalan Kalong Ningkang, from Boulevard to Everrise and from Everrise to Lim Liang Ki Commercial Center to prevent jaywalking. Dato' Deputy Speaker, I request urgent attention to safety concerns at Mile 15 roundabout, which has witnessed many accidents and fatalities. I implore YB Padungan to leverage his esteemed position as MP of Stampin and advocate for the allocation of federal funds in Parliament towards the construction of an elevated U-turn to replace the aforementioned roundabout. The urgency of this matter cannot be overstated, and I call upon YB Padungan to take immediate action to prevent any further accidents or fatalities. It is my belief that this solution, an elevated U-turn, would greatly enhance the safety of the affected area and prevent any further loss of life. I cannot fathom any excuse for the federal government to withhold the necessary funds for the removal of the deadly roundabout and the construction of an elevated U-turn in its place. Worst case scenario, demolish this deadly roundabout. It is imperative that YB Padungan fulfill his duty as an elected representative of the people and bring this matter to the attention of the Parliament without delay. Dato' Deputy Speaker, it is disconcerting to note that the response of Stampin MPs assistant to my calls for action was dismissive and not helpful at all. We all know that projects under 50 million ringgit may be in progress in Sarawak, but the issues at Mile 8, Mile 15 and Bomba all fall under the purview of the federal government. As such, the request for funds falls on the MP who has been elected by the people to do the job. JKR Sarawak will implement these projects once the funds have been approved in Parliament, and these funds and projects have been allocated to JKR for implementation. There is a correct procedure and protocol to these matters, and I believe YB Padungan should know very well. I am especially concerned with regards to the views expressed by YB Padungan, who has expressed derision at my projection of 400 million ringgit for a flood mitigation project for Kampong Kuop, which I find disappointing. And talking about that, YB Padungan should also be very well aware of the delay caused by the cutting of various categories of funds when the Pakatan government took over in 2018. As a result of that, PLSB had to start afresh on new negotiations and design. Apparently, DID could only begin construction in 2022. Such was the impact of delays in funds in 2018. The funds were only transferred to the department in late December 2018 after many complaints were made, but by then the damage done to the previous progress made on ongoing negotiations, engagements with professional consultants, plans and existing designs, the damage was very extensive. That is the answer to what YB Padungan brought up earlier on the 150 million which is still with the government. It only came in late December 2018, and it's all because of Pakatan Harapan who came in power and messed everything up. Sarawak contributes 80 billion ringgit annually to federal coffers. However, YB Padungan deems it unreasonable to request 400 million from the federal government to address flash floods in Kampong Kuop. YB Padungan raises objections when spending is proposed for the betterment of Sarawakians, but remains silent about Penang spending 46 billion on the Penang Transport Master Plan during the Pakatan Harapan tenure as government. I wish to inquire about YB Padungan's contributions to Sarawak's development. He failed to challenge the reduction of funding for Sarawak projects when Pakatan Harapan won in 2018, and even advised against Sarawak accepting a 2.9 billion ringgit check from Petronas for SSD payment to Sarawak. I implore YB Padungan to reflect on his stance and to think about requesting for more funds for the development of Stampin, which is his duty as an elected representative of the people. Let us all work together for the betterment of Sarawak and our people. Dato' Deputy Speaker, I would like to draw attention to the state of a fisherman park in Lubok Buaya of Jalan Lante. 7 million ringgit has been graciously allocated by Yang Amat Berhormat Premier to revamp the area. Padawan Municipal Council will implement and develop the project. Thereafter, it will be handed over to Persatuan Nelayan for management, generating profits for the community. Fisherman Park is a popular spot for fishing and will be expanded to 3 acres with proper facilities for fishing, homestay, and restaurants. With proper planning and execution, this scenic location has the potential to attract not only local visitors, but also foreigners from nearby Indonesia and even Brunei and Singapore. However, I'm very concerned about the delay in the commencement of this project. The approved funds have yet to be allocated to the Council, and it is crucial that the development work begins soon to provide the much-needed facilities to uplift the standard of living for the community there. I urge the relevant authorities to expedite the implementation of this project for the benefit of N13 Batu Kitang and the population at large. Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker, I wish to address an important issue that affects the safety and well-being of our constituents in Stampin Parliamentary Constituency. May I humbly draw your attention to the inadequate resources available to the Padawan Police Force. It has come to my attention that there are only 2 vehicles for patrolling purposes to cover a vast area between 17 Mile Padawan, the interior of Padawan, and right up to Telaga Air. This lack of resources has led to an increase in crime, particularly housebreakings and thefts day and night. As elected representatives of our constituents, we have a responsibility to ensure that our community is safe and secure. I urge YB Padungan again, also MP Stampin, to address this issue in Parliament, because the police is under the Parliament, under federal purview, and provide the necessary support and resources, including at least 10 new vehicles, not all vehicles sent over from West Malaysia, 10 new vehicles to the Padawan Police Station to effectively patrol the expanding housing estates in Padawan and the constituency of Stampin. I would like to express my gratitude to Yang Amat Berhormat Premier for implementing the Batu Kitang Kampong Extension Scheme in Kampong Bunga Rampai. This scheme has successfully met the growing population's housing needs, bringing joy to the villagers who cannot afford to own houses. However, I have also submitted applications for other Kampong Extension programs, including Kampong Sandong, Kampong Batu Kitang, Kampong Bukit Panjo, Kampong Lidatana, Kampong Sebuah, and Kampong Betong. I would appreciate an update on the progress of my applications, as these programs are crucial to meet the housing needs of the population in N13 Batu Kitang. Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker, I wish to draw your attention to 2 pressing local issues affecting the people of Sarawak. Firstly, the poor state of our education system, where even basic amenities such as good tables and chairs are lacking in schools like SK Arang in my Batu Kitang constituency. Also Stampin Parliamentary Constituency, which hampers the learning experience of our younger ones. The same goes to SMK Jalan Arang, where the septic tank has sunk, the drain has collapsed, and the day one is too small to accommodate 1,700 students. In addition, there are 10 Chinese conforming schools in Sarawak, classified as government-aided schools run by associations and NGOs, which are struggling to maintain their facilities. I urge YB Padungan again to raise this in Parliament, because education is under federal purview. To raise it is in Parliament for more allocation under the federal government to assist all these schools, including these 10 Chinese conforming schools. Sarawak needs full autonomy on education so that we can decide on our own syllabus, focus on our rich history, and allocate resources to our own schools. Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker, I wish to express concern over the lack of adequately sized water mains in some areas of Kampong Bumbok in my Batu Kitang constituency. JKKK Kampong Bumbok, through myself, has applied to Kuching Water Board for new pipelines for some time now, but progress appears to be slow. Similar requests pertaining to Lorong 12 has been made by the Kapitan of Kampong Semabak, behind Kampong Haji Baki, and progress is also slow. I implore upon Kuching Water Board to address these issues promptly. I would also like to request feedback from the district office in Kuching regarding the appointment of 2 Ketua Kaum from Taman Indah Lande and Taman Sri Permai. The villagers, through myself, have requested for the appointment of 2 more KKs to cater to their needs, and I hope that these appointments will be approved soon. Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker, RPR Taman Flora Indah has been in existence for the last 20 years. I wish to thank the Sarawak Housing Commission for a good job done in maintaining the 18 blocks of residential flats comprising of 576 parcels. It is, however, the earnest wish of every household to own a strata title. I implore all related agencies to facilitate promptly to solve this issue as soon as possible. Country Hill apartment consisting of 128 parcels in my N13 Batu Kitang is a similar case. This private development has been in existence since 20 years ago, and the developer has filed for bankruptcy. The residents are facing a lot of inconveniences trying to maintain their apartments, including common spaces.
Omar, you can do your closing. Yeah.
Thank you. Presently, Jabatan Insolvency, a federal agency again, has taken charge of the project, but progress has been slow. I wish to call upon all related agencies to facilitate promptly so that the strata titles can be issued. Finally, I would like to wish all our mothers a happy Mother's Day, our teachers, happy Teachers' Day, our Muslim friends, Selamat Hari Raya, Buddhist friends, Selamat Hari Wesak, and our Dayak friends, Selamat Hari Gawai. I support His Excellency Tuan Yang Terutama, Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak's opening address at this first meeting of the second term of the 19th State Legislative Assembly. Allow me to have 1 minute. I have got a pantun to share. Merdu bertingkah aluan suara, kadang tak sedar tersilap kata, andai terlanjur patah bicara, serendah hati kemaafan dipinta. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Batu Kitang. Yang Berhormat Ketibas, please.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Speaker, thank you for the opportunity for me to participate in the official address by Tuan Yang Terutama, Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak, Tun Pehen Sri Haji Abdul Taib Mahmud. It is an honor and privilege to stand here in this august house to represent the people of Katibas. I would like to put on record my sincere gratitude to the people of Dun Katibas for their unwavering support for GPS government and the Premier of Sarawak, as this would certainly enable us to achieve and develop Sarawak by 2030. Firstly, I would like to congratulate the Premier of Sarawak Yang Amat Berhormat, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Datuk Abang Haji Openg and the team of administration on the outstanding financial performance of 11.9 billion for 2022, the highest revenue ever achieved by Sarawak. With his far-sighted vision for Sarawak on new streams of revenue, we all pray that the 2023 and year onwards, we will go beyond what we have achieved in 2022. Before going any further, I also must convey our appreciations to staff of implementing agencies in my constituencies, such as JKR, Land and Survey, Majlis Daerah, Resident Office, District Office, and the respective HQ and ministries for their commitment and dedication to ensure our project timely delivery to our rakyat. I acknowledge the challenges they face, such as short of staff, logistic facilities to service our rural areas, and many more. We also face with staff who only acting in their position and thus limit their authority and the morale. These are grave and urgent realities from which we must not shy away. We must address this issue otherwise we fell in our promissory note enshrined in our PCDS 2030. Let us update and upgrade our government staff skills to provide necessary tools and resources, and most importantly, their work process and approving red tapes that takes so much of their productive time to ensure that they can work according to the pace and speed of our young Amat Berhormat. As we all know that we receive yearly RTP allocation of certain sums. However, the completion rate is rather too low, not to mention the critically ill project. For example, in my constituency in 2022 listings, only 3 completed out of 19. While there's no indication of completion of our project earmarked for the year 2023. Rightfully, RTP project is a calendar year allocation and therefore must be completed latest by 31st December of the same year. Yang Berhormat Speaker, in speeches I have given in the past in this August House, I talk about how the most serious challenge facing our rural community today. That is the land and prosperity through socio-economic and our human capital. I have spoken about poverty and inequalities and about how the government initiative would help to alleviate the widespread of hardship and destitutions that affect our rural community. I also asked for Song District for an affirmative action. It seems impossible for me this time not to dwell again on the same issues until I get it. As such, we all know, rural development is an essential component of nation progress. It plays a critical role in promoting economic growth, improving our living standard, and reducing poverty and inequalities. Land ownership and land developments. I sometimes fail to understand why landowners are poor. Despite owning fertile loamy 1,000 acres of land, native land in our area. Also, the native itself is supposed to be a good agrarian community. I believe also that good land reforms and sustainable policy, such as giving title and accessibility to assistance, can give better commercial production, which can alleviate them from the grips of poverty. In view of such condition, I call upon Land and Survey Department to expedite the perimeter survey under Section 6 so that we can initiate our efforts to reduce poverty through the function of socio-economic activities. I would like also to call upon the Agriculture Department to review their work process to reduce the red tapes to expedite the promise that we give to our people. There are feedbacks on the dissatisfaction over the issue of implementation of agricultural project on the ground. It requires urgent attention from all parties, stakeholders on this department. As we aspire to achieve PCDS 2030, in which we will shift from subsistence farming to commercial large-scale agriculture and food production and manufacturing. Reduction in rural poverty have not always led to the reduction in rural inequalities. There are grouses also and dissatisfaction on the ground over employment opportunities in public sectors, digital divide, business opportunities, scholarship, and intake for good cause in the universities, as well as technical training center. Inclusive rural development therefore require both localized local policies and action at the state level. The mix of economic policies for rural can spur economic development while reducing poverty and inequalities within the context of social inclusivity, as per Sarawak aspiration to achieve a developed Sarawak by 2030. Yang Berhormat Datuk Speaker, the success and failure of DUN Katibas to attain and achieve PCDS 2030 depend on the completion of basic enablers such as infrastructures, utilities, social amenities to facilitate our economic transformation and diverse revenue generation. I understand that people talk about IR 4.0 And here I'm still talking about physiological needs of the people who stay in the log house. It is therefore, I continue to request the following road and bridges attached to it to be constructed as soon as possible. In Sungai Musa, we have 15 kilometer, 11 settlement. Sungai Iran, 16 kilometer, 14 settlement. Sungai Song, 15 kilometer, 9 settlement. Sungai Tekalit, 29 kilometer, 20 settlement. Sungai Lijau, 15 kilometer, 5 kilometer, 4 settlement. Sungai Manap, 5 kilometer, 5 settlement. Engkuah Tunangang Ranau, 34 kilometer, 14 settlement. Remaining portion of Sungai Bangkit, 30 kilometer, 12 settlement. And the completion of Kabah to Melipis, north bank of Batang Rajang, also 26 kilometer, need to be completed. In addition, Dun Katibas also need light industrial lot. I continue to request for construction and completion of Anjung Usahawan or light industrial lot to support our local entrepreneur. This will improve our entrepreneur development. As of now, we have only 6 units of Pusat Incubator Usahawan SEDC, and we need more than that. Song Digital Center. With the completion of Song District Office, the new office building, there is a plan to utilize the old complex for Song Digital Center, which will be equipped with necessary IT facilities. This will facilitate the digitalization business to promote online product from our rural area. I request our Sarawak unit Pentamiran to provide necessary approval to utilize the old district office once they move to the new office complex. Inland fisheries. I would also like to highlight the area for special attention that is the inland fisheries sectors. N62 Katibas is famous for its fresh water, such as Mpurau, Tengadak, Labang, and other fresh water. This sector is worth special attention as fishing is not uncommon for the people of Katibas and the visiting tourists. I thank the Minister Mfaikot YB Kamana for earmarking Katibas as the Indigenous Fish Hatchery Center, ZIAS, of Mpurau and Dawai Bell. This certainly will contribute to local social economy. However, other projects such as Farm Road is very much needed to provide greater access to our land for other cash crops like fruit, vegetable, coffee, cocoa, and livestock farming. And the completion of CPPC is critical to support our marketing piece. Longboat jetty. Longboat jetty or terminal is important enablers to support our riverine businesses. It will facilitate inland fisheries which Katibas can offer to support our tourism industry as well. We can also offer water sports such as regatta, rafting, fishing, culture, adventure, and nature along Katibas River. And this longboat terminal become a landing point as well. Besides, this can serve as collection center for fresh water from the uprivers and the other streams. Utilities development, telecommunication equipment, electricity, and water. Information and communication technology is crucial enablers to energize our rural economy. As such, I call upon relevant agencies such as SMA, SDEC, Kementerian Komunikasi dan Digital to expedite the construction and commissioning of their equipment to assist the digitalization of our rural economy. There are 63 settlements still not connected with our telecommunication services. As the saying goes, if the government delay in connecting us by roads, connect us online pun boleh juga. With regard to electricity, I would like to thank the Ministry of Utility for lighting the rural areas with SARES or grids. To that, we have achieved of at least 80% installation. However, there's a need to plan for 70 more kilometer grid installation from Song to Ulu Katibas and its tributaries once Udra Road is completed. For water supply, there is a need to connect piping reticulation for 45 kilometers to house already accessed by road in Katibas. However, there is a need to expedite also Song water treatment plant project and the reticulation from Kapit to Teluk Jambu in Song district. Development of religious community and senior citizen in Dun Katibas. We must be clear that Sarawak development is not linked only to such how much money we have, or how long is our pen Borneo, or what technology we introduce to our people and highways we can construct, or what money can buy. Yet, there are widespread of spiritual poverty, deterioration of values and value that govern the family institution. These are the cause of our social problem today. Maybe Yang Berhormat Minister for Women, Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development can give some input on our social performance. As such, I continue to request for this government to provide social amenities such as Kompleks Kesejahteraan Rakyat Daerah Song, a center for senior citizens, including our OKU. While I plan to build churches, I would also propose for a sizable masjid to be built in Dun Katibas to cater for the needs of our Muslim community, not only the local Muslim but also passers-by that might stop for their semayang when they go to Song. The UNIFO to continue to obtain funding so that can assist to develop our God-fearing citizens. Yang Berhormat Datuk Speaker, more often than not, we heard about District Council has lack of funds to carry out essential works such as providing street light, drainage, sanitation, road maintenance, and town beautification at council jurisdiction. As such, I suggest that local council to collect their own gambling tax so that they can generate additional revenue that can be used to fund projects and services that are important to their communities. Currently, the state government gaming tax to lottery ticket, the state government collect 10% on RM1 of ticket purchased by punters. Such collection will be given back to respective council by the same amount they collect. By allowing local council to collect gambling tax, they will help us to curb illegal gambling activities as well. The people of N62 Katibas would also like to thank Yang Amat Berhormat Premier for the RTP project approved to facilitate the livelihood of our people. I would like to suggest to our GPS government to increase further our allocation for RTP due to the current increased costs and to narrow the urban and rural gaps and the greater community participation in the mainstream development so that we can transform faster to achieve a developed status in 2030. I would like to request the government to earmark Song District as, once again, affirmative action area to speed up the overall development. Sarawak will not be fully developed if Dun Katibas is not developed. In Iban language, Sarawak nak mansang, nanti Dun Katibas nak mansang. Yang Berhormat Datuk Speaker and member of this August House, once again I wish to thank our Tuan Yang Terutama Pihin Sri for opening address to officiate this Dun. Before I end my speech, let us remind ourselves of the following. Sehari kita lambat bertindak, sehari kita tambah penderitaan rakyat. Sehari kita lambat tanam, seharilah dia lambat berbuah. To GPS supporters in my kawasan, please move forward with our battle cry, Anang Rindang, Agi hidup, Agi ngelaban. To my fellow Dayak, selamat hari Gawai, Gayu Guru, Gerai Nyamai, Lantang Senang. And to the Guru in Sarawak or somewhere else, selamat hari Guru, tanpa Guru, siapalah saya. To my Muslim friend, not too late to wish you selamat hari raya. And to my GPS comrade, we must act better, faster, and most importantly, we must act together. With that, I hereby beg to support the official address by Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak, Tun Pihin Sri Haji Abdul Taib Mahmud. Yang Berhormat Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Ketibas. I call upon Yang Berhormat Maradong. After this will be Yang Berhormat Jepak, and then followed by Kalka. Yang Berhormat Kalka. Yang Berhormat Maradong, please.
Mine. Yes, nice. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to participate in a debate on His Excellency, the Head of State of Sarawak, Tun Pehin Sri Haji Abdul Taib Mahmud opening address in conjunction with the first meeting of the second session of the 19th Sarawak State Legislative Assembly. Amongst many other important messages, His Excellency urged the federal government to promptly resolve Sarawak's rights issues that are dear to the heart of all Sarawakians. We must all rally behind our head of state to ensure that all our autonomous rights as enshrined in MA 63 and IGC reports are to be returned to us as soon as possible. His Excellency also congratulates the state government on the new economy model based on green technology that has attracted many investors to Sarawak. As a Sarawakian, I feel very proud as we are at the forefront of our drive towards a sustainable green economy and green energy. Yang Berhormat Dato' Speaker, allow me to go into some local issues in my constituency. First of all, utility services provider. I have had some not so pleasant experience with utility services provider over the years while implementing my RTP projects. Very often, the request for repositioning of the services to enable the implementation of RTP projects resulted in receiving a bill from the service provider company which is higher than the RTP projects. Therefore, I would like to urge the local government ministry to initiate a bylaw, if there isn't one in existence already, to empower the local council to collect yearly rental from the services provider so that we can pay them for shifting of services if and when necessary. I would like to give 2 examples here. First one is the most recent one, is removing of 7 poles and realigning the cable. The total cost is more than $500,000, whereby my RTP projects only cost $200,000. So in the end, we have to negotiate and have to do some on-site survey. And in the end, I believe the cost is less than $100,000. And the other one is the shifting of the pole in the school compound, where I am giving out a RTP project for a new building block. And we have to shift the pole, but unfortunately, after we pay a few thousand, the pole has been shifted, but still inside the school compound. So this is what we don't want to happen. That's why I hope the authority concerned can do something to protect us when we need to shift the service lines. Dato' Speaker, Bintango Swimming Pool. First of all, I would like to thank Yama Brahma Premier and the Cabinet for approving the funding for the Bintango Swimming Pool project. After visited a few potential sites by various government agencies, it was finally agreed that the site should be next to the existing sports complex building in Bintango. However, due to some technical issues, the project has not taken off. For the information of this August House, this is the first project I have requested during my first term as Adu Meradong sometime in 2017. Although the initial project cost requested is much lower than the eventual allocation for the project. For the information of this August House, the population of Meradong and nearby districts, including Pakan and Julau, is about 69,900, with a total of 7 secondary schools and 66 primary schools. Therefore, my plea in this August House is that the scale of the project can be scaled down, but please don't deny the people of Meradong and its surrounding districts to have a swimming pool as did their brothers and sisters in bigger towns. Just as Sarawakians have every right to request for the return of autonomous rights, even though our population is not so big. Rabies disaster. It was termed as a disaster, as I read from the newspaper. According to figures from Department of Veterinary Services, Sarawak, a total of 1,251 cases of dog and cat bites were reported, and 11 rabies cases involving humans, including 9 deaths, were reported in Sarawak from January 1st to May 15 this year. This is a worrying problem that needs every Sarawakian to take note of and fully cooperate with Department of Veterinary Services Sarawak to tackle the disaster together. Only mass vaccination of dogs can effectively stop the spread of this deadly disease. Therefore, ADUN together with KMKK have the duty to educate the people of their constituency and urge them to take their pets for free anti-rabies vaccination at their local communities from time to time. Perhaps it is time for us to amend the relevant ordinance to give the local authority more power and better restrictions or guidelines for the pet owners as far as addressing stray dogs is concerned. Number one, Dato' Speaker, naked telecommunication towers. In my constituencies, there are many naked telecommunication towers. They are not commissioned to date. This is a serious problem as people are now more concerned about internet connectivity than ever before. It is of utmost importance that once the telecommunication towers are built, all the ancillary fittings must be put in place and let the telecommunication tower be operational as soon as possible. Yang berhormat Dato' Speaker Kompleks Sukam Pintango, I have been complaining about the appalling state of the running tracks at Complex Sukam Pintango in every dune sitting. However, I have recently received some assurance that it will be upgraded under 12th Malaysia Plan midterm review. I hope this is the last time I need to bring this matter up in this August House. And I would like to thank the Minister and officers in Ministry of Youth and Sports, Sarawak, for helping the people of Meradong and nearby districts that are using these sports facilities. Yang berhormat Dato' Speaker, a leopard never changes its spots. Honourable Member for Patungan is still at his best in carrying out baseless accusation and personal attacks of his political enemies. To suggest that GPS government increases the land premium after landslide victory in PRN 12 is just ridiculous. And to blame the Minister of Housing for the abandoned private housing projects is short of being malicious. He also wished SUPP to lose a few seats. And I would like to tell him that unless we choose to rest on our laurels or for being lazy and complacent, we are here to stay and help our constituents to move forward together with GPS government under the leadership of Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Abanjo. Yang Berhormat Dato' Speaker, in conclusion, please allow me to take this opportunity to wish all our Muslim friends Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir dan Batin, and to all our Dayak friends, Selamat Hari Gawai, Kayu Guru Gerai Ngamai, Lantan Senang, Nuam Menua. With the above observation, I fully support our Head of State, Dun Perhin Sri Haji Abdul Taib Mahmud's opening address. Thank you, Dato' Speaker.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Meradong. May I call upon Yang Berhormat Jepak, please.
Terima kasih Datuk Seri Speaker, salam bumi kenyalang yang disayang. Jutaan terima kasih kita ucapkan ke atas nasihat dan tunjuk ajar oleh Tuan Yang Pertama Negeri Sarawak. Kita sama-sama menyokong dan mendukung hasrat beliau dan mahu Sarawak maju dan terus berada di dalam suasana bersatu padu dan harmonis. Kita juga menyokong dan mendukung usaha kerajaan dan yang amat berhormat Premier untuk membangun Sarawak. Datuk Seri Speaker, preserving our rich heritage for the benefit of society, we have a lot to preserve. Our vast land, our sea, our clean air, our forests, and our harmony, political stability. It's a long list. They are all worth preserving and protecting. Congratulations and thank you to government and Menteri Pelancongan Industri Kreatif dan Seni Persembahan atas pembentukan Sarawak Craft Council 2023. It is well supported by Ahli Dewan Yang Berhormat in this August House. We have a lot to preserve. They are still there. We still have the time and opportunity to promote so that the valuable heritage will remain vibrant and become part of our heritage economy. I humbly believe that the State Craft Council will facilitate towards this end. Datuk Seri Speaker, tanah, isu tanah. Penyukatan tanah untuk bertani bagi kawasan luar bandar utamanya. It has to be done. It's part of our move to be more self-sufficient in food. Tanah-tanah tersebut juga boleh menjadi aset jika tuan empunya tanah mendapat title. Apabila bandar berkembang, tanah untuk perumahan pun semakin diperlukan. Saya berharap isu ini, penyukatan dan pemberian title dapat ditangani secara besar-besaran dan bersepadu. Pada pandangan saya banyak menerima feedback isu tanah, sama ada di social media ataupun hasil perbincangan. Isu tanah merupakan isu ekonomi, ianya sentimental, kadang-kadang emosional dan amat sensitif. Datuk Seri Speaker, pendatang tanpa izin tenaga kerja asing.
You just call me Tuan Speaker lah. Yang Muhammad, this, for the record. I think the handset should be corrected lah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Just call me Tuan Speaker, please.
Okay. Banyak pandangan, ada positif dan ada negatif. Yang positif, mereka menambah dan menyumbang kepada tenaga kerja yang wujud di negeri ini. They supplement our workforce. Mereka membuat kerja yang pada lazimnya tidak mendapat sambutan daripada penduduk tempatan. The two jobs are avoided by the local workforce. Ini bukan bermakna saya menyokong kedatangan tanpa izin, tapi saya sedar akan nilai positif pendatang dari negeri lain. They come to fill the genuine gap in our manpower supply. They contribute in the process. They add to the economy. They are part of the GDP and wealth creation. As such, I would like to see a real survey of the need to be conducted. Now we look like we are doing it piecemeal. They can come for the jobs that we know there is genuine shortage of local labor. Instead of coming as illegals, they can come for the jobs where there is real shortage of labor. They can be properly registered. Then it's easy to monitor. Right now, the situation is untenable. Mr. Speaker, sir, next is a very sensitive issue, yakni pencerobohan oleh negara China ke atas perairan Sarawak dan Malaysia. It is sensitive, ianya merupakan cabaran ekonomi dan keselamatan. Umpamanya, bot-bot Navy China merapat pelantar minyak di kawasan perairan Sarawak. Ini perairan kita. This is aggression, raw aggression. No amount of explanation can excuse this act of aggression. Their sophisticated ships are modern and well equipped, and straying into other countries is not a question of accident. It is deliberate. We cannot tolerate. They have to be stopped. Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam confront them in the high seas. We cannot do less or otherwise. Otherwise, we are taken as weaklings. Protect our sovereignty, our security, and our economic interests. Saya juga ingin menyentuh beberapa isu berkaitan dengan pembangunan di Bintulu, khasnya kawasan Jepang. Secara umum, Bandar Bintulu memang terkenal dengan kegiatan ekonomi, terutama berkaitan gas. Ianya menarik pelabur kecil dan besar dari negara dan luar negara. Begitu juga Bintulu menarik tenaga kerja dari seluruh negara. Bintulu berkembang dengan cepat dan pesat. Bagi Jepang khususnya, ada beberapa perkembangan yang membanggakan. Satu, jembatan baru. Jembatan kedua menghubungi kawasan pasar dan kawasan seberang. Sekarang dalam pembinaan. It is there for all to see. Terima kasih Kerajaan Sarawak. Terima kasih Yang Amat Berhormat Premier kerana meluluskan dan menggunakan dana Sarawak oleh kerana ianya ditolak oleh federal government. Sad. Kedua, pusat pentadbiran baru di kawasan seberang. Bangunan dalam pembinaan. Terima kasih Kerajaan Negeri dan Yang Amat Berhormat Premier. Ketiga, projek Jepak Jaya. Satu, projek gagasi melibatkan 8,300 lot perumahan kedai, industri ringan dan sebagainya. Kerajaan juga meluluskan peruntukan sebanyak ringgit 135 million bagi institut development di kawasan Jelutong. Terima kasih sekali lagi. Yang jauh jadi dekat, yang dekat semakin dekat. Dari airport Bintulu ke Muka dalam 1 jam. Jalan elok. Dari Kuala Tatau di bahagian Bintulu ke Kuala Belingan di bahagian Muka dalam masa 12 minit. This is how close things are. And I have driven many times. Hingga kan hari raya sanak saudara dari Belingan pergi ke Bintulu dan kami pergi ke Belingan. Nyata hasil pembangunan yang dilaksanakan oleh kerajaan. Datuk Sri Speaker, sir, since I promised I should be brief today, I want to say a few things. Raya Idul Fitri berlalu sudah. Demikian juga Hari Guru. Maaf zahir dan batin terpancar dari kalbu. Dan terima kasih untuk insan bergelar guru. Hari Gawai akan mendatang. Kita raikan bersama dalam suasana mesra. Gayu guru, gerai nyamai, lantang senang, nguan menua, hidup harmoni, amalan bumi kenyalang tercinta. Sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Jepak. I call upon Yang Berhormat Kelakar, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam Sarawakku sayang. Terima kasih di atas peluang yang diberikan untuk saya turut serta dalam perbahasan usul penghargaan atas ucapan Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak pada pembukaan mesyuarat pertama bagi penggal kedua Dewan Undangan Negeri Sarawak ke-19. Terlebih dahulu saya ingin merakamkan penghargaan ke atas Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak yang telah menyampaikan ucapan yang menyentuh begitu banyak perkara yang membuktikan keprihatinan beliau terhadap Sarawak dan rakyatnya. Antara intipati ucapan Tuan Yang Terutama Negeri Sarawak, beliau mengucapkan syabas dan tahniah kepada Kerajaan Sarawak kerana sentiasa saksama dengan semua kaum dan hak rakyat Sarawak yang sentiasa dipelihara sama ada dalam bidang politik, ekonomi maupun sosial. Beliau turut menggesa rakyat menjadikan Sarawak terus maju dan makmur agar dapat hidup dengan aman demi generasi kini dan yang akan datang. Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak juga yakin hubungan erat Kerajaan Sarawak dan Kerajaan Persekutuan akan terus membawa banyak kebaikan kepada rakyat. Sekaligus gabungan kerajaan perpaduan ini dapat segera menyelesaikan tuntutan Sarawak selaras perjanjian Malaysia 1963 MA 63 laporan jawatan kuasa antara kerajaan IGC, Perlembagaan Sarawak dan Perlembagaan Persekutuan. Beliau juga menzahirkan syabas kepada kerajaan Sarawak di bawah pimpinan Premier Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Abang Haji Openg, kerana berjaya memulihkan ekonomi sejak pandemik COVID-19 dengan bantuan khas Sarawak Ku Sayang BKSS yang bernilai 6.7 bilion, berjaya membantu rakyat yang terkesan. Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak yakin melalui strategi pembangunan pasca COVID-19 PCDS 2030, Sarawak akan menjadi ekonomi maju menjelang 2030. Tuan Speaker, izinkan saya turut mengemukakan rintihan, kehendak dan rayuan suara hati rakyat di kawasan tempat saya, Dewan Undangan Negeri N38 Kelakar. Beberapa perkara akan saya utarakan kali ini, merangkumi perkara-perkara yang pernah saya persembahkan dalam Dewan Yang Mulia ini dalam persidangan Dewan sebelum ini. Setelah mengambil kira keperluan dan kepentingan rakyat yang perlu diberikan perhatian segera. Tuan Speaker, kelangsungan pembangunan di kawasan luar bandar terus menjadi keutamaan kerajaan Sarawak dalam memastikan semua rakyat menikmati kemajuan secara saksama. Di kawasan saya Dewan Undangan Negeri N38 Kelakar amnya, isu bekalan air bersih perlu diberi perhatian oleh kerajaan negeri menerusi agensi yang bertanggungjawab seperti Jabatan Bekalan Air Bersih Luar Bandar JBAB. Pada musim kemarau yang lalu, telah banyak memberi kesukaran kepada penduduk dalam persiapan menyambut perayaan Hari Raya Aidilfitri baru-baru ini di kawasan saya, dan akan datang sambutan perayaan Hari Gawai yang bakal tiba terjejas teruk di Kampung Paloh, Perpat, Kampung Kabak, Lubuk Nibong, Rumah Galing, Rumah Rawing, Rumah Tanjung, Rumah Mujah dan sebahagiannya di kawasan Roban. Sebagai wakil rakyat di kawasan itu, saya sendiri amat bersimpati dengan kesukaran penduduk kampung yang masih belum mendapatkan bekalan air terawat yang sempurna. Keadaan ini harus menjadi pengajaran kepada kita untuk meningkatkan dan menyegerakan lagi usaha menyediakan bekalan air terawat di kawasan yang terjejas yang dipahamkan sedang dalam proses pembinaan. Baru-baru ini saya difahamkan sejumlah lebih 6,000 kotak minuman air mineral telah diagihkan oleh Jawatankuasa Bencana Daerah Seratok kepada 11 buah kampung di kawasan saya sejak 15 April lalu yang terjejas akibat kemarau. Saya mohon pihak JBAB serta kontraktor yang telah dipilih perlulah bekerja keras bagi memastikan tiadanya masalah ketiadaan air terawat ini berlaku, dan mereka perlu bekerja dengan lebih kuat agar projek pembekalan air terawat tersebut siap mengikut jadual yang telah ditetapkan. JBAB sebagai agensi pelaksanaan projek terbabit harus berterusan memantau projek dengan tegas terhadap kontraktor agar tidak wujudnya kelewatan. Perjalanan projek berlaku sehingga menjejaskan keperluan rakyat. Lantaran itu, saya mohon agar masalah ini dapat diselesaikan segera, kerana persepsi dan harapan rakyat adalah untuk melihat projek penyambungan saluran bekalan air terawat di sini dapat disiapkan dalam masa terdekat seperti yang pernah dimaklumkan. Tuan Speaker, hakisan sungai dekat Kampung Melangor, Seratok, perlu diberikan perhatian yang serius memandangkan terdapat banyak struktur terbing yang semakin terhakis. Untuk makluman Tuan Speaker, terdapat seramai 131 ketua isi rumah yang terjejas. Kediaman yang kini telah terjejas akibat daripada hakisan tersebut. Oleh itu, saya mahu pihak berkaitan harus menyegerakan dengan kadar segera skim pembesaran kampung SPK Kampung Pagan yang dulu namanya SPK Kampung Kupang Fasa 1 untuk penempatan baru mereka ini. Tindakan yang wajar perlu dilakukan untuk mengatasi serta menegah hakisan dari terus berlaku sebelum ianya menjadi lebih buruk. Tuan Speaker, perkhidmatan kemudahan kesihatan di daerah Sarawak adalah perlu untuk dipertingkatkan dengan menempatkan doktor pakar di hospital Sarawak. Ini adalah bagi mengatasi masalah yang dihadapi oleh penduduk di daerah Sarawak yang memerlukan perkhidmatan doktor pakar sebelum mereka berlaku sebarang kecemasan dan terpaksa para pesakit perlu dihantar ke hospital Sarike yang mengambil masa selama 1 jam setengah perjalanan. Punca dan masalah utama pesakit, terutamanya ibu mengandung, terpaksa dihantar ke Sarike memandangkan tiadanya perkhidmatan pembedahan caesarean di hospital Sarawak. Bukan itu saja, mereka terpaksa menghadapi beban kewangan seperti mengeluarkan belanja tambang sendiri serta mencari tempat penginapan apabila isteri mereka dihantar ke hospital Sarike. Untuk itu, saya berharap pihak kerajaan mempunyai perancangan untuk meningkatkan mutu perkhidmatan kesihatan dari aspek fasiliti serta penempatan doktor pakar di hospital Sarawak seperti pakar perubatan obstetrik dan ginekologi. Tuan Speaker, saya menyokong penuh usaha kerajaan untuk membangunkan sektor pertanian. Dalam hal ini, tumpuan telah diberikan kepada pengeluaran agro makanan dengan berteraskan teknologi pertanian terkini. Sehubungan itu, aspek keselamatan dan kualiti hasil tanaman turut diberi penekanan bagi menghasilkan produk yang berkualiti, berkhasiat, bernilai tinggi sekaligus mampu menjana kewangan. Sejajar dengan seruan kerajaan untuk meningkatkan tahap ekonomi dan hasil per kapita rakyat di negeri ini, saya mencadangkan agar sebuah kawasan agropark ditubuhkan di kawasan Dewan Undangan Negeri N38 Kelakar. Dengan adanya penubuhan taman pertanian ini amat signifikan untuk memenuhi keperluan populasi penduduk yang semakin bertambah. Kawasan ini juga dilihat amat sesuai dengan adanya projek pembinaan lapangan terbang landasan pendek stolpot di Bebuling Sepauh yang sebahagiannya daripada inisiatif Kerajaan Sarawak untuk menjadikan Sarawak sebagai pengeluar produk makanan utama menjelang tahun 2030 yang boleh dijadikan saluran untuk kemudahan bagi tujuan ekspor. Tuan Speaker, masalah perkhidmatan jalur lebar turut menjadi keresahan penduduk di kawasan DUN N38 Kelakar. Meskipun sesetengah kawasan telah dilengkapi dengan kemudahan komunikasi dan internet, namun rangkaian akses untuk kemudahan tersebut berada pada tahap yang masih lemah. Keadaan ini berlaku di kawasan Bandar Sarawak sendiri yang mana perkhidmatan telekomunikasi yang disediakan oleh telco seperti Digi, Celcom, Maxis yang tidak stabil dan tidak memuaskan seperti di kawasan Lot Lawasan, Taman Seroja Indah, Perumahan Taman Malong dan Rumah Hikom Senyawan, Rumah Michael Berwis Sungai Antu dan banyak lagi rumah panjang di kawasan DUN N38 Kelakar. Oleh itu, saya mohon kepada kerajaan supaya mempergiatkan lagi usaha untuk memperluaskan akses ketersambungan jalur lebar dengan membina menara dan struktur sistem pemancar telekomunikasi di kawasan ini. Menurut laporan daripada Bomba dan Penyelamat Daerah Sarawak, telah menunjukkan statistik bahawa kegagalan sistem pendawaian elektrik adalah penyebab utama berlakunya kebakaran di daerah itu, iaitu disebabkan oleh lita pintas dan overload. Laporan tersebut berkata sepanjang tempoh 2012 hingga ke tahun ini, 2023, telah mencatatkan sebanyak 66 kes kebakaran dan melibatkan kerugian berjumlah 12.2 juta dan hanya 4.6 juta harta benda yang dapat diselamatkan. Ini disebabkan punca utama kegagalan sistem penawaan elektrik yang merupakan antara penyumbang terbesar adalah faktor penyambungan wayar terlalu banyak pada satu poin sehingga berlakunya insiden tidak diingini. Justru itu saya mohon untuk mencadangkan kepada kerajaan agar memperuntukkan satu skim baru untuk menukarkan penawaan elektrik dalam rumah dan rumah panjang yang telah melebihi usia 10 tahun, terutama sekali bagi yang melibatkan persalanan projek skim bekalan elektrik luar bandar RES di kampung dan rumah panjang. Saya juga ingin mencadangkan supaya dana khas untuk proses mengalihkan tiang elektrik bagi tujuan pertama, bagi semua projek pembangunan, contohnya projek ATP seperti pembinaan parit dan yang lain. Yang kedua, rumah persendirian. Ini berlaku kerana kedudukan tiang elektrik berada di atas lot tanah dan mengganggu pembinaan rumah sebab hendak alihkan satu tiang, contohnya intermediate LT pole 3-phase distribution system, menjangkau kos sebanyak 10,000 dan ianya amat membebankan penduduk luar bandar. Dengan kewujudan dana khas ini dapat meringankan beban rakyat dan pelaksanaan projek pembangunan tidak akan terjejas yang mana melibatkan peralihan tiang. Selain itu juga, saya mohon supaya diberikan untuk menaik taraf servis lain daripada pihak SEB ke rumah panjang daripada 1 fasa ke 3 fasa. Saya juga mencadangkan agar tambahan kapasiti alat ubah atau transformer di kawasan luar bandar untuk mengelak berlakunya masalah beban yang di luar jangka, terutama sekali semasa musim perayaan dan penyebab kepada kerapnya berlaku blackout. Sudah tiba masanya untuk pihak ACB membuat kajian dan perancangan untuk naik taraf semua transformer di kawasan luar bandar. Tuan Speaker, saya ingin merakamkan ucapan terima kasih dan tahniah di atas usaha gigih Kementerian Utiliti dalam membantu rakyat di N38 Kelakar melalui projek ALAF. Saya mencadangkan agar segala red tape, masalah birokrasi yang dihadapi bagi mempercepatkan pelaksanaan projek ALAF ini. Untuk itu saya mencadangkan agar kontraktor melaksanakan projek ALAF diberikan kadar harga yang standard selain daripada menawarkan harga melalui proses tender. Tuan Speaker, persarana dan kemudahan sekolah di luar bandar di pedalaman perlu diberi tumpuan, terutama sekali oleh Kementerian Pendidikan bagi merapatkan jurang perbezaan dalam pendidikan dengan sekolah di bandar. Saya yakin Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak akan terus bekerjasama dengan Kerajaan Pusat bagi memastikan bidang pendidikan di negeri ini terus diberi tumpuan termasuk membangunkan sekolah daif serta kuartus guru yang telah uzur. Tumpuan perancangan drastik dan peruntukan besar amat diperlukan untuk menaik taraf kemudahan bangunan sekolah serta kuartus guru yang telah uzur di seluruh negeri ini, dan usaha ini amat penting memandangkan kebanyakan bangunan sekolah di negeri ini dan di DUN N38 Kelakar khasnya berada dalam keadaan yang agak daif dan bangunan lama masih banyak dibina daripada struktur kayu. Masalah yang dihadapi kita adalah apabila peruntukan diberi tidak mencukupi, hanya untuk projek kecil sahaja. Ini kerana sekolah daif dan kuartus guru memerlukan kos yang lebih besar untuk dibaiki atau dibina baru. Justru saya sangat berharap Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia dan Kerajaan Persekutuan mengambil langkah yang wajar dan mengambil perhatian serius atas permasalahan yang berlaku di sekolah daif serta kuartus guru negeri ini. Tuan Speaker, institusi pendidikan atau pusat teknikal harus diwujudkan sebagai usaha melahirkan generasi muda yang berkemahiran di daerah Seratok, amnya di DUN N38 Kelakar. Antara institusi yang perlu diwujudkan adalah seperti kolej komuniti, sentek dan lain-lain institusi kemahiran yang berkaitan. Dengan adanya kemudahan pendidikan yang disediakan oleh kerajaan, saya yakin lebih ramai golongan belia berintelektual lahir dari N38 Kelakar. Kemudahan ini dilihat sangat mendesak untuk daerah Seratok bagi melatih pelajar dan para belia untuk kemahiran tertentu di samping menyediakan mereka ke arah dunia pekerjaan yang sebenar. Untuk makluman Tuan Speaker, projek pembinaan Jalan Kampung Kupang ke Simpang Jalan Bajau dan juga projek pembinaan jambatan menyeberangi Sungai Krian Seratok yang masing-masingnya memperuntukkan kos berjumlah 90 juta. Begitu juga projek menaik taraf jalan dari Pagan Seratok ke Kampung Kabak yang telah memperuntukkan kos bernilai 15 juta menerusi senarai projek dalam luar bandar kini dalam proses perancangan. Ketiga-tiga projek rakyat tersebut untuk makluman Tuan Speaker telah diluluskan dan menunggu untuk ditender dan reka bentuk spesifikasi telah pun siap seperti mana yang dimaklumkan pada sesi perjumpaan saya bersama pengarah Kementerian Desa dan Wilayah KKDW baru-baru ini. Oleh itu saya berharap ketiga-tiga projek yang telah diluluskan itu mohon dipercepatkan pembinaannya agar rakyat akan mendapat manfaat daripada projek tersebut. Tuan Speaker, masalah sosial dalam kalangan remaja semakin meruncing dan telah menggusarkan masyarakat terutama yang melibatkan kes najis dadah. Saya akui terdapat banyak program telah dijalankan oleh agensi-agensi penguatkuasaan seperti polis, agensi anti dadah dan persatuan pencegah dadah pemadam. Namun isu dadah ini masih berlaku malah kian bertambah dan telah merebak ke kawasan luar bandar melibatkan penduduk kampung dan rumah panjang. Mungkin apa yang telah kita laksanakan selama ini belum memadai. Saya berharap kerajaan dapat mengkaji dan melihat semula pendekatan yang telah diambil dalam masa dapat mencari kaedah serta strategi baharu yang lebih berkesan bagi memerangi ancaman dadah ini. Tuan Speaker, acara lomba perahu atau penganjuran regata kelakar wajar dimasukkan ke dalam kalender pelancongan Sukan Sarawak. Daerah Seratok wajar mempunyai satu acara pelancongan yang perlu disenaraikan dalam kalender pelancongan negeri. Untuk makluman Tuan Speaker, penganjuran regata kelakar bakal diadakan 28 hingga 30 Julai nanti. Selain itu, saya mencadangkan agar Kementerian Pelancongan atau agensi berkaitan untuk menjadi penyelaras kepada mana-mana penganjuran regata lomba perahu di negeri Sarawak. Ianya penting untuk memastikan jadual penganjuran setiap tahun dapat diatur secara lebih berkesan. Dan seperti sedia maklum, sekarang banyak penganjuran regata lomba perahu dianjurkan di berbagai lokasi di negeri Sarawak. Namun setakat ini penganjurannya tidak diselaraskan oleh mana-mana pihak. Kalau boleh bermula tahun depan, Kementerian Pelancongan, Industri Kreatif dan Seni Persembahan ataupun Kementerian Belia, Sukan dan Pembangunan Usahawan menjadi badan yang bertanggungjawab mengatur jadual mana-mana penganjuran regata di negeri ini setiap tahun kerana acara ini amat diminati oleh rakyat di DUN N38 Kelakar dan di seluruh negeri Sarawak.
Yang berhormat penggolongan.
Tuan Speaker, untuk mengakhiri perbahasan ini, saya ingin mengingatkan kita semua di Dewan Yang Mulia ini supaya dapat meneruskan perbahasan dengan penuh berhemah dalam mencanai minda dan tenaga serta bertindak tanduk untuk menjadi Sarawak sebuah negeri yang aman, makmur lagi sejahtera. Kepada semua yang beragama Islam, saya mengucapkan selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri, maaf zahir dan batin. Dan kepada rakan-rakan dari masyarakat Dayak, saya ucapkan selamat Hari Gawai, Gayu Guru Gerai Nyamai, lantang senang nuan menua yang akan bakal merayakannya. Maka dengan ini saya menyokong usul bahawa Dewan Yang Mulia ini bersidang dan meluluskan ucapan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan dan terima kasih kepada Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak pada pembukaan persidangan pertama bagi penggal kedua Dewan Undangan Negeri Sarawak yang ke-19. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Kelakar. It seems that we have only one more speaker wish to speak. Is YB Kota Sentosa. Yes. Unless there are other indicators or indication, please. So it seems that Kota Sentosa will be our last speaker today. Yeah, we have field day tomorrow. Anyway, for those who had not been ready today, thank you. Yang Berhormat.
Tuan Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to debate on the motion of appreciation and thanks to the Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak, and for the opportunity to be the voice of the people of Kota Sentosa. It is with this sense of duty and responsibility that I stand here, and I will strive to meet the highest standards of service required for the benefit and progress of the communities of Kota Sentosa. Currently, we have a unity government at the federal level. It is therefore imperative for the Sarawak government to be consulted first before appointments of any officers as head of federal departments or agencies in Sarawak. This is crucial to ensure close rapport and cooperation between the federal and Sarawak government, which would otherwise reflect a peninsula-centric direction of the federal government to the detriment of Sarawak. The absence of consultation has the potential to create tension and affect federal to Sarawak relationship. This could invariably lead to slow implementation of people-centric projects and inefficient utilization of available resources through lack of proper coordination and cooperation between federal and Sarawak department and agencies. I therefore urge the Sarawak government to demand and impress upon the federal government that Sarawak is consulted first before appointment of any officers as head of federal departments or agencies in Sarawak, in line with our Sarawak First policy. Tuan Speaker, it is beyond a shadow of doubt that every Sarawakian wants affordable airfares. It is therefore welcome news to many Sarawakians to hear that our YAB Prime Minister have in principle agreed to Sarawak's proposal to establish its own boutique airline to boost air connectivity to Sarawak at affordable prices. Apart from improving Sarawak's air connectivity, which is vital for our domestic tourism sector, international tourists could fly directly to Sarawak bypassing Kuala Lumpur. Sarawak have a lot to offer. When it comes to tourist attractions with our rich biodiversity and diverse culture, the main problem is Sarawak's lack of air connectivity. More international tourists to Sarawak would mean more business for our domestic tourism players, which include accommodation providers, food and beverage operators, and bring additional revenue to Sarawak. This boutique airline could help to mitigate high airfares, especially during festive seasons, which would benefit Sarawakians returning home to celebrate with their families. I believe that with proper management, planning and strategy, a boutique airline operated under the purview of the Sarawak government will provide an avenue to intervene to stabilize airfares for flights to and from Sarawak. Airline travel is now no longer a luxury, but a necessity. It is therefore imperative for the Sarawak Transport Ministry to impress upon the Federal Transport Ministry not to drag its feet to approve the license to the proposed boutique airline so that it can start operation soonest. Tuan Speaker, there are more than 100,000 small and medium-sized enterprises engaged in different sectors of the economy of Sarawak. SMEs are the backbone of local economies and play a crucial role in driving economic growth and development in Sarawak. Sarawak must continue to create a conducive investment and business environment to ensure more SMEs and help SMEs to access funding and other resources. The availability of venture capital funding will enable SMEs to thrive and contribute significantly to Sarawak's economic prosperity. It is therefore welcoming news when one AB Premier, the member from Gedong, believes that Sarawak should have its own commercial bank, as such a local-based Sarawak commercial bank will better help small and medium enterprises in Sarawak who sometimes face problems in getting financial loans from commercial banks, even though they have a very good business model. Having our own Sarawak commercial bank would serve as a catalyst and encouragement for development of SMEs in Sarawak, which in turn would increase business activities, create more jobs, and boost our local economy. I therefore fully support YAB Premier's initiative to set up Sarawak's own commercial bank. Tuan Speaker, recently a proposal was made to turn the Borneo Highlands Resort into a casino. It would appear to be a prudent decision on surface and looking at it from the perspective of attracting and generating economic benefits. In many countries, gambling is considered a legal and regulated activity, and individuals have the freedom to decide whether or not to participate. However, we cannot overlook the arguments against gambling, as it is highly addictive and can lead to financial ruin, strained family relationships, loss of employment, and other negative impacts on an individual's life. The social cost of gambling can also be significant, resulting in increased crime rates and financial burdens on communities. As such, any decision to allow the setting up of a casino in the Borneo Highlands must come with stringent regulatory checks and policies to mitigate gambling risk. Regulations must include restrictions on age, advertisements, and marketing, and also measures to protect vulnerable individuals and communities. Any approval of a casino license for the Borneo Highlands must not be a stand-alone feature, but should also include numerous other attractions to beckon tourists, both domestic and international, with other delights rather than just betting. The Singapore model of a casino as part of an integrated resort must be closely studied. This is because the two strictly regulated casino resorts in Singapore have been shown to be a driving force in Singapore's tourism sector and have brought direct tangible benefits to Singapore's economy. I therefore call upon the government to consider all aspects carefully, including safeguards to protect Sarawakians against the social ills of casino gambling before any decision for a casino license for the Borneo Highlands is made. Tuan Speaker, I'm given to understand by the construction industry players that the construction industry in Sarawak still face numerous challenges. The majority of contractors in Sarawak are still trying their best to complete many outstanding projects. However, many contractors are facing supply chain disruptions, building material price escalation, tight or shortage of labor supply, and higher labor costs, and slow progress payments from implementing agencies. Supply chain disruptions, especially aggregates for road construction, ready-mix concrete, and pre-mix manufacturing are either in tight supply or facing shortage. I therefore urge the Sarawak government, through the relevant ministry, to closely monitor the supply of critical building materials to ensure adequate supplies to the market at reasonable prices so as not to allow delay to contractors' work and progress. I'm also given to understand that the cost of granite aggregate is $20 per metric ton, 20 ringgit per metric ton in Kuantan and 28 ringgit per metric ton in Johor, whereas in Kuching it is at a very high price of 40 ringgit per metric ton. Indeed, if there is such a huge disparity in cost of granites, I urge the relevant ministry to find out the root cause of this disparity and whether it is due to excessive profits by quarry operators. Perhaps there is a need for the Sarawak government to relook into licensing issues for quarry operators. Tuan Speaker, kudos to our Yang Amat Berhormat Premier member from Gedong who have taken the proactive steps towards ensuring public accountability, not by words but through action, through the establishment of unit integrity done Ombudsman Sarawak unions. Whereas the opposition, DAP, are only good at talking about public accountability, with no action to back up, GPS delivers on public accountability and transparency through unions, which is directly under the Premier's department. However, to some, especially DAP, party politics and brainwashing fit into the equation. That is not the purpose. To realize its objectives of disseminating information of government policies and accountability, we must take politics out. Rather, we must explain government policies and projects and how they will benefit the people. Sarawak will only progress if we steer the people away from political bickering and rhetoric and focus on policy-based decisions. Tuan Speaker, with unions in place, the government can investigate any allegation of misconduct or corruption and can hold civil servants and officials accountable for their actions. Good governance is not only essential for promoting accountability and transparency, but also for enhancing economic progress and development. When public institutions operate in a fair and efficient manner, it creates an environment that is ideal to attract investments, leading to job creation, increased productivity, and holistic economic growth. I therefore urge the Sarawak government to go one step further by urgently tabling an ombudsman ordinance during the next sitting of this August House to give legal effect on Sarawak government's resolve and commitment, not in words, but through action towards creating a transparent, competent, trustworthy, and efficient government. Tuan Speaker, flash floods continue to be a distressing issue for house owners and occupants in various areas in my constituency of Kota Sentosa. For example, in Borneo Gardens, Taman Happy Valley, Lorong Durian Burong, and Stampin Resettlement Scheme. During my numerous Turun Padang visits after occurrence of flash floods in my constituency, I hear and feel their emotional distress and frustration on their property, which include equipment, furniture, and vehicles damaged and the financial losses they suffer. Those affected by flash floods in my constituency want a solution to their problem and not excuses and finger-pointing by those in authority, be it the fault due to lack of funding from the federal or Sarawak government. Those affected are tired of the numerous excuses and explanations given by the authorities responsible. The affected residents want a speedy rectification to their predicament, and they deserve a solution to their long outstanding problem. Tuan Speaker, I truly believe that if the people in authority put their heads together and with comprehensive and coordinated planning, the authorities concerned shall be able to efficiently apply for more federal and state government funding and efficiently deploy the available yearly federal and state funding. This is because drainage and irrigation is enumerated as a specific item in the concurrent list of the federal constitution. This means that both the federal and Sarawak government are jointly responsible and must coordinate and work together through the relevant federal and state ministries and drainage and irrigation department to resolve this matter speedily. Tuan Speaker, as a long-term solution, I once again appeal to the authorities concerned to conduct a detailed study and formulate a comprehensive drainage system, not only for my constituency of Kota Sentosa, but the whole of Kuching and Sarawak. The planning on flood mitigation should be proactive and not reactive. I pray that with proper, proactive, detailed planning, the authorities concerned can systematically and efficiently rectify the long overdue flash flood problems. To those affected by flash floods in my constituency, I hear you, I'm with you, and I'm for you. Tuan Speaker, decision-making on important matters on health and education is still centralized in Putrajaya. Unfortunately, the policy decisions made on health and education matters are often slow, inefficient, cumbersome, and unsatisfactory to fulfill the demographic needs of Sarawak. Tuan Speaker, Sarawak must step up to pursue health autonomy from the federal government, as matters concerning public health and medicine currently falls under the concurrent list of the 9th schedule of the Federal Constitution. With health autonomy, Sarawak would be able to better address the disparity of healthcare services between Malaya and Sarawak and formulate strategies and policies that are more suited to Sarawak's needs. Tuan Speaker, similarly, Sarawak should urgently step up its efforts for the return of education autonomy to Sarawak. Sarawak knows what is best for Sarawak, as the challenges in Sarawak is different from Malaya due to its vast area and sparse population. The decentralization of education and healthcare from Putrajaya to Putrajaya would cut bureaucratic red tape and allow for better planning and execution of policy decisions to address and resolve Sarawak's education and healthcare needs in an efficient and equitable manner. I do not profess to be an expert on education and healthcare, but I, together with countless Sarawakians, truly believe that education and healthcare autonomy is a crucial move in the right direction that must be relentlessly pursued by Sarawak in order to improve the quality of education and public health care tailored to the needs in providing quality education and medical care to all Sarawakians, including for those in the rural areas. Tuan Speaker, are we as Sarawakians going to continue to allow Putrajaya to fail us on such important matters such as education, which really needs to be given the fullest attention for the development of our human capital resources, crucial to propel our development agenda? As for health, it is important to enhance our socio-economic development and in ensuring that the welfare of our people is well taken care. In short, Sarawak must have greater autonomy, especially over crucial matters of education and health, to better serve our people. We must have greater autonomy to look after ourselves. Tuan Speaker, I therefore look forward to the recent announcement by the Federal Unity Government on the decentralization and return of autonomy in education and health, as this has been the wish and aspiration of ordinary Sarawakians for a very long time. I hope that the recent announcement on education and health autonomy is not superficial and cosmetic in nature, i.e. only devolution of administrative powers for speedier implementation of federal government policies, but must include real powers for the Sarawak government to make policy decisions on education and health and implementation of those policies made by the Sarawak government through continued and adequate federal government funding. Tuan Speaker, Sarawak can rely under Article 80(4) of the Federal Constitution, which allows for the transfer of executive authority over health and education matters from Putrajaya to Putrajaya, with the federal government under Article 85(5) providing the funds. Article 85 provides that subject to any provisions of federal or state law, arrangements may be made between the Federation and a state for the performance of any functions by the authorities of the one on behalf of the authorities of the other, and such arrangement may provide for the making of payments in respect of the costs incurred under the arrangement. If federal and Sarawak government cannot agree on the amount of funds, the matter can be resolved by independent tribunal appointed by the Chief Justice of the Federal Court under Article 86 of the Federal Constitution. It is now a question of will, the will of Putrajaya versus the will of Putrajaya. Needless to say, I believe the voice of ordinary Sarawakians to have health and education autonomy is an overwhelming yes. Tuan Speaker, lastly, I salute you, Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Member from Gedong. Your leadership is exemplary and your work ethics excellent. Your vision for Sarawak is impressive and progressive. As a matter of fact, I look forward to implementation of the numerous policy initiatives announced by YAB Premier Member from Gedong. However, and most unfortunately, it appears that those appointed and serving under you and tasked with the implementation of your vision cannot keep up with delivery of your vision, initiative, policy goals, and objectives for various reasons. Perhaps it is time to relook and re-evaluate the institutional and organizational structure of our implementation processes and bureaucracy. The duplicity of the same function by different departments needs to be looked into. This is because the various ministries and bureaucracies are entrusted with the implementation of clearly defined goals, initiatives, and public policy. Perhaps it is also time for the Sarawak government to consider relooking at certain focus areas of administrative system improvement, supervision strengthening, performance implementation, competency and accountability, and quality of public service improvement with a purpose to promoting efficiency, effectiveness, professionalism, and better delivery of public goods and services. YAB Premier, member from Gedong, you have given the recipe, you have provided the ingredients, and it is now for the appointed cooks to deliver the dishes to the rakyat. Tuan Speaker, before I end, I would like to take the opportunity to wish all celebrating the coming Gawai Selamat Hari Gawai Daya. Gayu Guru Gerai Nyamai, I fully support the motion of appreciation and thanks to the opening speech of Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Sarawak. Thank you.
Thank you Yang Berhormat Kota Sentosa. Ahli-ahli yang berhormat, the sitting is now adjourned and the House shall resume its sitting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Inshallah.